Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you.
Now we lost you for a while.
Sorry about that. Hello.
Hi.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry about that, please. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, I can.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate the response. Okay, so let me just give an objective. The objective for this class, I intend to start from this class, like I said earlier. So by the end of this class, I expect every student here confident in your Excel skills. And the only way you can be confident is if you practice more. So learning this is not enough. It's not enough to just look at the screen and take down notes and say you've learned it. There is uh, there's a part you have to play. That's being consistent. You have to keep on practicing, at every time. I'll just bring in data. I shared some sheets with you earlier. We'll be using some of them. So you keep on practicing for you to understand the extent you can go with Excel and how to use it perfectly. So hello. Hello.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Sorry. So my network is usually not this way. I'm so sorry. My network is just misbehaving today and I really don't know why. Okay, so confirm if you can see my screen again, please.
Yes, we can see your screen.
All
Yes,
right,
it's clear.
thank you. I'll just go straight to the Thank you. I'll just go straight to the page layout. So this page layout is just exactly how you want your page to be, how you want your work, let me put it that way, to look. You have margins, we have orientation. That's if you want it in landscape or if you want it in portrait, just like we have on on Microsoft Word. We have the break page, the print area, just to edit your page really. You might not really use this as much as you use the other tabs. So we have formulas. So let me add that Excel, unlike Word, which is just for typing in and doing some other works like that, Excel can be used as a calculator. You can use it to analyze your data. You can use it to calculate. So it just really, as Word is to English, I see Excel as to mathematics, more of that. So this is the formula. We really might not use all of this now, but you just need to have the background knowledge. So you have the auto sum, just like to add up all your data. We have, this is where your recently used formulas would be. We have, a lot of them to look up preference, date and time, and some other functions. They are all here. Data, that's the next tab, talking about the kind of data that it is. Just when you want to check your data, if you want to group them, if you want it to be ungrouped, different things like that. You can validate your data here. You can consolidate. You can remove duplicates. Whatever it is you want to do. As we go on with examples, you understand better. Review. It's like you want to review your work. We have the view here, just almost like this page layout, but just a number of things are different. We'll be using this particular tab as we go on, and then they help. So yeah, back to home. I did mention sheets. So you can create as many sheets as possible in Excel. I'm just clicking on this plus button here, and it's creating as many sheets as possible. So I have sheet 1 here. I can just type in any data here. Here I have sheet 2. I have 12. Here I have sheet 3. You can create as many sheets as possible. Get about thousands or hundreds of thousands. So now, speaking of row and columns, we have row A. Sorry, row A, yes, row B, row C, D, E, and as much as you want really. And then we have different columns, and these are cells. When I click on a particular cell, you can see this green line, like a box, showing that this is clicking on a cell. So I can click on as many cells as possible. It gives me a range. So say this cell, for example, this cell, every cell has a name, right? So every cell in Excel has its name, and it has an alphabet and a number. So this cell now is A1. It's in row A under column 1. Please, do you understand that? Hello?
Yes, we do.
Yes, thank you so much. So I just need one person
Yes.
to answer, so we don't have to go back and forth. There's just one person. If you know your background isn't noisy, you can just unmute your mic, and so whenever I ask and then you answer, I would know every other person can hear me as well. It has to be someone whose background isn't noisy, please. Thank you so much. So speaking of cells now, this cell where my cursor is now, it is on row F and column 6. So that is where the cell is. Now I want to talk about arrows in Excel. If you look at this on my screen, you can see a plus sign, but it's like in a box shape. We have plus, but it's like it's in a box. So this particular arrow is used to align. So if I double click on my mouse and I drag anyhow I want it to be, it aligns the cell. It aligns the number of cells I want. That is when using this plus sign. So coming down here, if I bring it, please, can you see another sign? Which one is it? Hello?
There is no other sign there. It's just the box.
Okay, can you see another sign now?
Not really. No sign yet.
That should be my network.
Yes, we can.
Different, right? So this particular one, yes, okay. So this particular one is used to drag the information on that particular cell. For example, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this cell, right? So I just clicked on enter, and then the data is imputed. So if I want to move this from this particular cell to another, looking at where please don't use this box sign, it will not move. Like if you double click on it, you're just trying to highlight this cell. But once you come down maybe to where you have the green box and you see this kind of like a star shape, it means I can shift my data anywhere I want it to be. If I want to move it from this particular cell to another cell, I just need it to be this way, my arrow to show this particular sign, and then I move it. Another thing I can also do with my arrow is this other plus sign. See, this one is not in a box shape. This one, you just have a tiny black sign, and it can only show when it is at this part on the right side of your cell. Are you following? I have to be sure I'm not speaking
Yes.
too much. All right, thank you. So you can double click on this and drag. We have the same data. Double click and drag. We have the same data. I can do that here. Double click and drag. You have the same data. Even if you even click once and drag, you have the same data. That's if you want array or something like that. So let's bring in a particular data, 1, 2, 3. So you have to write something. You have a name in your class as a teacher, or you just want to write an attendance or something. You want to have 1, 2, 3. Instead of typing 1, 2, 3 to 100, I can just write 1 and then drag down. Now notice that it's copying the same number. That's fine. All you have to do is to come down here. Since the cells are highlighted, come down here to where we have these autofill options, and then you can choose to either copy cell. I can click on fill series, you see, bringing it out to 19. I can just come down and continue to drag as much as possible till I get to 100. It gives you as many numbers as you want without stress. You don't have to type it out one after the other. Okay, let me clear this. Okay, so that's about bringing in numbers. Another way to bring in your data is if you have them, probably you already have them in your folder, just like we have this. Can you see this, please?
Yes,
Hello.
I can see, yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. So this is the Excel practice file I sent to you. I already opened it, so I can just open. Okay, let's see this one.
We can only see the Excel sheet.
You can only see the Excel sheet.
Yes.
Okay. Let me have to stop sharing and share again.
Okay.
Okay, so can you see this now?
It's yet to open. It's still open.
Yeah.
Yes, I can see your screen now.
Can someone else confirm that, please? Just one more person.
Yes, I can.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so this is the Excel sheet sent to you, the one we'll be using to practice. So I'm opening this. It's open now. Please, I also want to confirm again if you can see what I just opened.
Yeah, it's yet to open.
Okay.
Victoria, you said you shared this document with us.
Oh yes, I did.
Really?
On the WhatsApp platform. You can check the
Yes,
group.
but we couldn't really access it. It was not opening.
I wasn't included in the WhatsApp platform, sir.
Oh, so how did you get it?
It was through mail.
Oh, you probably didn't join the WhatsApp group. All right, so I can send it to you again. Just give me a message.
All right.
All right, so can you see units sold and revenue?
No,
We're
it
still
has
on your
not opened yet.
file. We're still on your file.
Okay, so let me just stop sharing. Share again. How about now?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yes, we can see now. You can see units sold and revenue.
Yes, thank you. I forgot to add that you can drag all these cells open whenever you want. So for something like this, I can enlarge it. I can also bring it back. Just in case you have a larger data. For example, let me say 200 tons. Okay, let me say 200 million. So usually your data would look like this. Where my cursor is now. Don't think that there is an error. The Excel sheet just telling you that it cannot contain the data that is there, the amount or the figure that is there. So all you need to do have the role, the letter. So you just double click and it is opened. To whatever data it is that you have. So I want to go straight from wasting so much time on just the worksheet. So formulas, like I said earlier, as Microsoft Word is in English, this particular Excel and Microsoft we have formulas, we have functions. So first of all, to begin to type a formula in, you have to start with using the equal to sign. Without this, it wouldn't work. Like it won't give you.
Sorry, your network is breaking. We can't really hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Victoria, we can't hear you at all. Your screen is not even displaying anymore.
Okay, so just be patient. I think the network is having she's having network challenges because she's currently off the call. But she's going.
Hello.
Okay, she's back. Okay. So network is off right now, but I think we can just continue something from here. So hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you just
Yes,
can you just type
We can hear
yes
you.
if you can
yes,
hear me very well? Can you just type yes? Okay. So so we are trying to just look at Excel, the framework of Excel, and that's what we are doing. So just while waiting, we will just try to I'll try to share my screen. Um, I'll try to share my screen now. Okay. So we've talked about the spreadsheet. We talked about the spreadsheet, and you also talked about just the thing is Excel. We want to assume that we know there are some of you who have working proficiency on Excel. You are on the platform right now, but just to ensure that everyone has an equal leverage, That's why we are taking through the basics. We are not intending for this to be a basics class. So now let us start. So I have here home, inserts, page layout, formulas, data, review, view. Okay, so can you see developer on my screen?
Yes, we can.
So the reason why you are seeing developer is that not everybody is going to be a programmer on Excel. So for people who are programming on Excel, they do the VBA and all that. That is the reason why you can see developer there on my screen. And also you can see power pivot and all that. Now, how many of you Excel is looking exactly like my own? Is there anybody that your Excel is looking exactly like my own? Is there anybody
Yes,
that your
somehow, but there
Excel
are
surface
little differences.
a little different? So the reason is because I am using Microsoft Office 365, and so we have different kinds of Excel. We have different kinds of Excel versions, and so this is the latest version of Excel. If you have the latest version of Excel, that is what I'm using. And if you are a student on Excel, why we call this Excel for student is because there are some things that are very peculiar to students to know. And number one thing that it's very peculiar for a student to know is about formulas. And that's why if you look at the flyer, you will see that we made some emphasis on formulas. And so I will just give you a big wrap up on formulas because we have a limited time to spend there. So I'm not going to spend so much time talking about the basics. But also you can see here row and column for people here who
Excuse me,
you
sir.
have done something like matrices. It's very important for you to know the address of a cell. And
Sorry,
so
sorry.
yes, sir.
Can you please just record just record the Zoom session?
Okay, we have this Zoom section live on YouTube, so it's going to be so you can access the recording from there. It's live on
Okay.
YouTube, so you can access the recording from there. The link has already been posted, but it's going to be reposted. Okay, so now please can you just mute yourself so that we can be a bit silent here. Thank you. Now, so we have home, insert, and we have the cell address. The cell address is very important because you cannot talk about formula without talking about the cell address. And that is exactly why we are emphasizing on it. We are not emphasizing on it just because it's something that we feel like talking about, because by the time I build up on this, I won't let anyone to be left behind. So now for the formulas, we have different kinds of Excel formulas. We have the financial, we have the logical, we have the text, we have the date and time, we have the lookup, we have the math and trick. And so for this class, we are going to be looking at specific examples on the logical formula, the text formula, the lookup reference, and the math and trick. And so let us start. What is an Excel? What is an Excel formula
I
basically?
too, Alade.
Yes, yes.
Sorry
Okay,
to cut you short. Yes, we already gone past this. Sorry, I'm asking
okay.
on my network, everyone. I don't know what's happening today. It's like village people don't want me to. Okay, so we already gone past all of this. I already introduced the tab and all. So we're already looking at formulas. Just I started with the some auto sum formulas.
Okay,
Yes, so
thank you
you
very
can just
much.
take it up from there.
All right,
Yeah,
I'll
thank you.
pick it up from here. Thank you. So basically, when we're talking about formulas, we start it. What is the difference? What makes a formula different from a normal cell? So if I was working on a normal cell here, let's say I want to type let me pick the name of somebody here from this meeting so I can see Adedeji Adeleye from here. That name seems very nice. So if I want to type in Adeleye Adedeji, normally what I need to do is just to type it inside here. Adeleye or Adedeji Adeleye. Okay, let me write Adedeji Adeleye. So this is just a normal data entry, and that's what many of us have been doing with Excel. However, if I want to make this one in form of a formula, of course, I have to start with equals to inside. Okay, so maybe I should just use this as an opportunity to mention in Microsoft Excel, you can actually type in a text inside the formula. So you can see here, I have Adeleye Adedeji. Sorry, I said Adedeji. Sorry, apologies to you, sir. And so you can see here I have Adeleye Adedeji inside here. However, if I want to make this a formula, it means that I have to start with equals to. So that is what is the future of a formula. A formula starts with equals to. So Victoria, please, can you just post the link to the Google Drive so that the practice files I'm using, some people who are working on their system can also download it. Thank you. So you can post the link to the Google Drive. So we have compiled the materials that you're going to be using for illustrations on the Google Drive. So the illustrations I'll be making will be from those selected Excel spreadsheets. So if I want to make this a formula now, if I type equals to, it's going to give me an error. Now, do you know why it's giving me an error? It's giving an error because Excel thinks that this is a named cell. This is a named cell. So there is something we call named cells in Microsoft Excel, and it's not part of the scope of this class. However, if I want to make this a formula, I just enclose a text in quotation mark. I put it in quotation mark. And if I put it in quotation mark, so because we are going to be working on VLOOKUP and some other things, so it's good you understand this now. You are going to be working on concatenate, and by the time you see the quotation mark, I don't want it to be like we don't really understand the origin. And so it is possible for you to combine a text with a formula. You are going to see how we can do that. And so if I press enter here, you can see there that it has put it inside Adeleye Adedeji. So that's how we make that a formula. And so that is just formula. So in text, under lookup, we have different kinds of formulas and how it is. So without wasting much time, we just want to apply. This is not really a class where we are trying to really go through all the frameworks of Excel because of the shortness. So it's much more practical oriented. So I'll be sharing another screen because I want to talk about another kind of, I want to talk about a specific kind of function on Excel. But before I do so, let me even try to explain what it means to to work with an Excel function. So what is a function actually? Whenever you hear Excel function, I know many of you have heard about sum, and in fact, unknowingly to you, you have used Excel functions before, and you might not really know that these are actually functions. Let's look at this for instance. Let me type 1 to 10. 1, 2. Well, let me just not waste my time. I can drag it down, and Excel has a feature where it can fill in a cell. So I am dragging it down to 10. And then so once I drag it down to 10, let's say I want to use an auto sum. So under your home tab, towards your far right, you should see something like this. It might not look exactly like this, but you should see this sign. And so once I press this sign, it should give me the sum. It said sum this to this, okay, 55. So about the function here in this case is the sum function. And so this is just one example of a function. So a function is just a
Sorry, hello, sir.
package. Okay, so a function is just like a specific, it's just like a specific package or a specific add-in on Excel. I'm trying to not use words that are too technical so we can be on the same level. That performs a particular thing. That performs a particular thing. And so one very important thing that you should know as a student is how to work with Excel functions and formulas, because some of you will be working on lab reports, some of you will be working on projects, some of you will be working on assignments. Some of you will be working on different things. Some of you working on on term papers, and you are going to meet a lot of very complex calculations that will have a whole lot of processes. And that is why we are taking our time just to explain functions and formulas, because this is Excel for students, of course. So, so in this case, sum is the function, and there is something that you should be aware of inside a function. So I'm trying to slow down as much as possible. And so because of our time, I'm not going to be too slow, but I'll try to slow down. Now, can you see? So there's something that you observe in a function. Whenever I press a function, you have two options. Now, you probably know that already. There are two places where you can enter a formula from in Excel. You can either enter the formula directly from inside the cell by double clicking. So here, let's say I want to enter the formula here. I double click here, then it begins to give me opportunity to edit, or I type it from inside this place. So this is what they call the formula bar. Okay, this is what they call the formula bar. And so we have different kind of functions, but because this is not really a functions class, I won't take time to be explaining this function, this function. I'll just pick one of them and you can try to fill in the gaps. We will recommend some websites that you can use after this class to really improve yourself on Excel, and hopefully you will get a whole lot better. Okay. So looking at this one, for instance, there's also something that you can do on Excel. We have a formula, we have insert function. So if you can see this thing, this FX, can you type yes in the chat box? If you can see this FX on your own system, if you are following from a system, can you type yes in the chat box? Very good. I can see some responses already in the chat box. Okay. So okay. Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. So apart from that, you can see here that you can have function, insert function. So if you press this thing, insert function is just like helping you. It's just like it's just like, how will I put it now? It's helping you to, with this person drawing something on my screen. Sorry, just a minute. Okay. Okay, let me just continue. Okay, so insert function is allowing you to, is assisting you. Now, not everybody is on the same level with formulas. So there sometimes you want to allow Excel to help you, because you are going to need this a lot. Excel has about 500 different Excel has about 500 different formulas. Okay, it has about 500 different formulas, and um, and because of that, because of the many formulas that you have available, okay, on Excel, there is no way you can, there's no way you can, there's no way you can know everything offhand. And so that's why you need to be using something like this sometimes. So let's say I'm looking for a formula that, I'm looking for a formula that can, I'm looking for a formula that can find remainder. And I
Sorry,
type up
sir.
here.
Please, how did you open this box, sir?
Okay, so if you see something here like FX, that's something, you know, something like FX, it helps you to
Okay.
access it, this FX here. And so let's
Okay.
say I press this thing here, I press the FX, you should see something outside there. And
Oh, okay,
so,
sir.
and
Thank
so
you.
you type something here. Let's say I want to find the remainder of a number in mathematics, for instance. If I want to find the remainder of 5 divided by 2, 5 over 2 is 2, remainder 1. But there's a way you can do it on Excel, and I don't know, for instance. So I come here, I type remainder. There are so many ways of knowing a function. I'm going through this process because since we are not going to be talking about so many functions, we should be able to empower you to be able to search for as many functions as you want to search for when you need to. So I press remainder. Okay, I hope my spelling is correct. And I press go. Can you see that Excel has recommended a function for me? So Excel is recommending that if I want to find the remainder of a number, I should use the mode function. And in fact, Excel will simplify this thing to the extent that after you have done a search for it, it will even help you to enter the formula properly as if you have entered it directly into the cell. It is when you are very comfortable with the formulas that you can now start entering that into the cell. So let's say I have remainder here. I press go. I press OK. I press OK. What is the number? So I said I want to find the remainder of the remainder when 5 divides 2. So the number is what? 5, right? The divisor is what? 2. So is it true that the remainder of 5 when 5 divides 2 is 1? Is that true? I think so. I think it's true.
Yes, sir.
I think it's true. And so that is something just very simple. That's just by the wayside. Okay. And so that's something that you should know, because you cannot know everything. You cannot know everything in Excel. Another way you can know about formulas and function is that you need to be very, very friendly with Microsoft Office support. So if you go to the internet, you can actually search online. There are so many websites that can help you to understand a formula and a function online, because by the time you're at work, you need to do this, you might need to see how it is done. And that's why if you are opening the book, if you have downloaded the file we sent, you should see something like function list. I'm typing it in the chat box now. You see something like functions list. So function list is going to allow you to at least get the most basic tutorial on how to use many formulas, so you can look at that and practice with it. So going forward now, another thing that formula can do is that I cannot talk about Excel formulas without talking about cell referencing. And there are some of us that we do some things in Excel that are not very reproducible. For instance, what if I want to type everything that is here? I want to type it here. Now look at this. Everything that is here, I want to type it here. There are some people that will go ahead and type it all over again. However, what I need to do is just to reference it. So that is what they call a cell reference. So all those A1 and A2, this is where it applies. So let us assume that I want to bring in this. What do I want to bring in into this place? I want to bring in D2 here. So I don't need to type D2 because I know that the cell address here is D. Can you see if I trace it down here? If I want to look for one is under D and is related to 2 at the same time. I don't need to type D2 manually. I don't need to do that. You can see as I type D2 is already selecting one. I don't need to do that. What I need to do is just to pick it. I pick it. And once I pick it, I press enter, and I can actually drag it down. The way you can copy formulas in Excel, I don't need to type the same formula in every cell all over again. I can just drag it down, and it will it will apply the same formula for every Z. So that's why it's disappearing. Another way is that I can double click. So our teacher then was trying to tell us that you can see a plus sign. So if lower right hand corner, so this is what I mean by the lower right hand corner, big cross to something like a very narrow one. How many of you have observed that? Before I move on, just say yes. Just say yes. If from a big cross to a narrow cross, just type yes. Just type yes.
No.
It has changed from a big cross to a narrow cross. And so what is the implication of that? The implication of that is that it is going to allow you to also copy the formulas there at once. And what is here is that if I press this one, you can see, okay, sorry, it's not going down. Okay, okay, it was supposed to copy it, but I will once I'm able to apply it somewhere else, I'll reference it again. So this is just something very basic about formulas. So by the time I now start doing the advanced ones, I will show you where this one applies. Okay, I'll show you where this one applies. I'll show you where it applies. So let's go on. Now let us take the first example. Now let's say we want to do something now. This is the most basic thing you can do. And before I even start the VLOOKUP and the advanced one, let's just assume that you are doing something. So many of you here, you go to the market. You go to the market, okay? So since you go to the market, I'll type something here. I'll type food. I'll type price. I'll type unit price. Unit price. So I'm going to show you something on Excel that you probably have not seen before. I type unit price, and then I type total price. I type total price. So because of our time, I just type on 3 foods. I type beans, rice, and gari. Now, because I'm too lazy to type in the price, I am actually too lazy. You know, Excel is supposed to Excel was made for lazy people like me. So I'm not going to stress myself. So I'm going to use a random. I'll tell Excel to generate random numbers for me that is for the unit price. And so the way to do that is to use random. So you can read more about that. You can read more about that. The video is available on YouTube. So in case you don't get any part, you can go and rewatch it on YouTube. We'll share the link. So random between. Can you see here? So as you are typing a formula, if a function is going to be bringing suggestions, so you don't need to type everything before you see what you are looking for. So since I've seen random between, I can double click on run between, and since I've done run between, say, okay, I want you to generate random numbers for me between 50 and 60, and Excel will do that. So you can see here on this run between. So that's something that is common to all types of functions. You will see that when you have a function, you will see that there are some things inside the functions. Those things are what we call argument. And so whenever you are working with Excel functions, you have to always put comma. Now, why are you putting comma? Comma will differentiate between one part of the function and another part. What does that mean exactly? In a function in Excel, there are different components of that function that needs to be added. And for that function to work properly, all the components in the function must be available. And so you can see here, run between. How many of you can see bottom and top on my screen? Between here, how many of you can see bottom and top? Just type yes. How many of you can see bottom and top? Just type yes inside the chat box. I've not seen any yes. Does it mean we can't see it? Okay. Okay, yeah, I can see one yes. And so based on that, if I now type here, you can see I can continue typing here, I can continue typing here because I can enter formula from anywhere. So let's say I said I want it to be between 50 and 60. So exactly first of all asking me, what is the bottom? Bottom means that what is the lower number? That's why it's bottom here. I type 50. So how does Excel know that I am about to type the higher number, like the lower range and the higher range? It is because it is expecting me to type a comma. So that's why you can see that beside this bottom here, there's a comma beside it. So Excel is telling me that for me to separate the lower range from the higher range, I have to use a comma. And that's why I type a comma here, and then I type 60. And so between 50 and 60, enter. So is 50 between 50 and 60? I think so. I think it is true. I think 50 is between 50 and 60. And as usual, I can actually drag it down. Can you see what I did here? I just double clicked. Now I want you to observe something. How many of you observe that the number is changing? How many of you observe that the number is changing? How many of you observe that the number is changing? Can you type yes if you observe that the number is changing? How many of you observe that the number is changing? Okay. Now, do you know? Now, the reason why the number is changing is because Excel has been programmed by Microsoft to always recalculate the values. Microsoft has programmed Excel to always recalculate the values, and that is why you have to be very careful when you are using random, because anytime you interact with the cell, it is going to recalculate. And so, what I will do here is that if I don't want this thing to be changing, I have to copy it and paste it back as a text. So that's why in Excel, copy and paste is more than just Control C and Control V, because I know so many of you are friends with Control C and Control V. You know, when you do project and assignment, you know all those things you do, Control C, Control V. Am I speaking your mind? Type yes if I'm speaking your mind. When you do assignment, put Control C and Control V. Okay, that's just my background note. Okay, so now so that's why unit price. So if I want to ensure that this thing doesn't change, it means that I have to transform this column from a formula to a value. I have to transform from a formula to a value. And why I do that is that I press Control C. I press Control C. Now I'm not going to just press Control V as per paste. I'm not just going to do that. What I'm going to do is that I will go here. Now, how many of you can see this thing here? There are so many ways to do it, though. There are so many ways to do it, and that's why we put Excel shortcut. So I'm going to teach you one very, very sharp Excel shortcut now. Very, very sharp. Now, you see this paste here. Now, this paste here, if I press down this paste, here, you can see that there is paste. You can see that there are 3 of them. Now, what I want to do is that I want it to give me back what is inside here. But not as a formula. What I do is that I press. Did you see that? If I interact with it, it's not changing again. Do you know why it's not changing again? Because now it's no longer a formula. You can see that that round between has disappeared. And so that's what you do whenever you want to transform something that is a function to a formula. Now, so many of you, this thing I said, you have to be very careful. Many of you are probably going to be working in industries and you are working in different things. And you will have forgotten that a particular worksheet has formula under, and what you need from that worksheet is not the formula but the value. And then you go and copy that thing inside another worksheet. Then you'll have already transferred the formula from one place to another, and the formula will go and calculate on another set of values. And then you wonder that why is this thing showing error? Why is this thing showing wrong? It's not showing wrong. You're the one that did the wrong thing. You were supposed to have copied and pasted back as a value. So that is on the waste side. Now I want to insert the quantity. How much of it am I buying? So I use insert. So I want to insert a column. I just highlight this, then I insert. That is one way to do it. Another way I can do it is that if you have a number pad, what I mean by number pad on your keyboard is 1, 2, 3, 4, like on the right side, like as if like the number on your phone. My keyboard has something like that, a number pad. That's what we call the number pad. You can try this. You can try command Control plus, Control plus. So this is what I'm saying: Control plus, plus, Control plus. That's plus sign. Control plus. So if I use Control plus, you will see that it will insert a new column for me. So if I use it, I press Control plus. Sorry, Control plus. What did you see? It has inserted something new for me. So that's one shortcut that you can use so that you want to be right clicking every time. You have to be efficient with the way you work with the spreadsheet. So I press here, I press quantity here, and then from the quantity, let's say I type just 543. Now this is where I'm going. Now, sorry, I press 5 hash here. 513. So this is where I'm going. If I want to calculate the total price, of course, the total price is this times this. So just the way you know it in mathematics, you do that in Excel. So what is the unit price? 55. What do I need to do? I don't need to type 55 again. I don't need to do so. I just need to click on that place that 55 is. I press it. Multiply by quantity. I need to click on the place that quantity is. I press it. And then I press enter. And 55 times 5 is 275. And then I copy it down. And then I found it. And then from here, I can even go ahead and do that sum that I've done before as a function. I can use the auto sum. And when I press sum, I have the total price. So it's telling me that the total price is 673 naira. And then for people who are familiar, you can also change the formatting from here. Change the formatting from here. I change the formatting to currency. Let's say I put the formatting here. So I say 673 euros. I know that's a lot of money now because naira is to euro is very wide apart, but you understand what I'm saying. So that is just the simple part of formula. So based on this background, we can now start building and talking about the advanced part of formulas. Because in this class, we are supposed to talk about the function. What I just did there was talking about worksheet formula. I've used opportunity to also do a bit of operations and formatting. So now, what is the if function? If function. Now, many of you have been hearing if function and if function, but we are going to do something very interesting. We're go-
Hello, hi Tiwa.
yes.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
Before
no
we go
problem.
into if functions and all of that,
Okay.
I think you should talk about transposing to transpose the
Okay.
data. Yes, you skip that, and then
Okay.
also you could just bring up a data or one of the files that was sent.
Yeah,
This one of the
exactly.
sheets. Yes, you can use you can just show them how to find the minimum, maximum value, average, medium, how
Oh, of
to
course, of
concatenate
course,
all
of
of
course,
that.
of course,
Yes,
of
please. So
course,
before we go into the if functions and
of course. Yeah. Okay.
so
Yeah.
please note that we have secondary school students in our class. So some of your
Yeah.
terms are quite technical. Just bring it down
Okay.
as
Okay. Okay.
possible.
No problem. No problem. Apologies to the secondary school student, please. Please, just apologies. Okay, so let's just wrap up this part of formulas, and then from there I just move into the advanced part of the formulas. The truth is that everybody
I'm sorry.
needs to, yes.
Hello, sorry, one more thing, please. Also, I think you should also teach how to do the um multiplying, addition, division, multiplying, and all of that. We have a particular file. I can't remember the name. If it's divided by something in the sheet, so you could just use that particular one to teach how to, and then the times
Exactly.
table as well, the multiplication table.
Mm.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for that addition. Okay. So we will look at that just to ensure that we have a very very deep understanding. So thank you for being very considerate, Victoria. Okay. So just as you said, um, what I did there is a sum, but of course you know that it's not only sum that you need to. It's not only sum that you need to work on. So let me pull out one of those files here that we can work with. Okay. So sorry for the delay. Okay. Now let me pull up a file called makeup 20 makeup 2007. Makeup 2007. Now I'm going to open makeup 2007. Please and please, Victoria will post the link again of how you can download this file so you can follow on your own if you need to follow, or if you want to just watch along, no problem. So I'll share a new screen now. So I have a new Excel sheet here called Makeup 2007. So this is similar to an accounting kind of spreadsheet, here. Okay. So um okay. So looking at this one, units and dollars. So if you can see the new thing I'm sharing, can you just indicate? Indicate. Okay, so I can see here. Okay, very good. Thank you for that response. So we are going to share. We are going to share. We are going to share some websites. I'm going to do that, that you can actually see more things about Excel, because Excel is a global thing. So a lot of people are working on it. There's a lot of collaboration. So it will be very good for you to be part of the international community of um of people who are actively working on Excel, because there's a lot you can learn from them also. Okay, so now this is, you can see here, I have on column G4. How do I know that it is G4? Because that is what is showing here. On column G4, I have trans name. I have on column H4, I have name. I have on column I4, I have date. Column J4, I have product. Okay, so this is even similar to what we have been doing already. Something like product, unit, and price. And then I have on this, I have dollars. Now, what if I want to do something like this? I want to find the average of the units. What we did that time was sum. what if I want to find the average? Because for people in secondary school, it's it's not even secondary school. Some people here, you are doing things like you still do all these things like averages. These are like daily things. You want to find what is the average number. Some of you are taking advanced exams like GRE, GMAT, SAT. Some of these things you write scholarship exams. So these things are not really like, oh, it's so basic, it's secondary school. It's something that affects everyone. Okay. So in this column K, let's say I want to find the average. Just as I've explained, it's just the same principle. So if I want to go down, okay, now some of you, what you do is that if you want to go to the last cell, you normally scroll with your mouse. True or false? Can you type true or false? Can you type true if this is what you normally do? If I want to go to the last cell, I'll be scrolling with my mouse. Can you type true or false if that's what you do? You'll be scrolling and scrolling endlessly. Well, please, please, you should stop that from today, or don't do that every time, just on a lighter note. What you can do is that you can use control and down. You can use control and down. It's a shortcut, okay? Control and down to just jump the scrolling process. To jump the scrolling process and move straight to where you are going. And so from here, if I press control plus down, I'm on the last cell. So because I won't have time to scroll to 1900 value, so I just have to jump the process. And so once I'm down here, I press as usual because it's a formula. I start with equals to. From equals to, I press average. And so just because um, this is not to explain the formula, for you to find the average, use average on Excel. That's how you find the average. So you can read more on that, on what can do what on Excel. So I use average. From average, I use here. And so another thing you need to do in Excel is that you need to specify the cells that you are working on the calculation on. You need to specify the cells. And so I want to specify where the calculation is going to be taken from. And to do that, what I need to do is that, so I'm going up now. So I don't want to do that. To specify, I want to say find the average of everything in this column. To do that, no, I told you that to go down, you use control down. So to go back up, you can guess what I'll use, control up. So control up and back up, okay? And then I'm here on 45. So that is one way of reducing the time of scrolling on Excel. And so from this 45, I want to highlight everything up to that point. So in Excel, the way you can highlight multiple cells without using your mouse is by using shift and the direction you want to highlight. I'm talking about shift key, the shift key and the direction in which you want to highlight. So let's say I want to highlight down here. I'm using the shift key and I'm going down. But because of time, to ensure that it is a faster process, if I add control to it, it will jump the scrolling just as it has done before, and it will go down to that last cell. Why highlighted? So now I'm pressing control shift and I will add down to it now. Okay, can you see that it has highlighted everything? So control shift and down, it has highlighted everything that I want it to do. So you can see it has highlighted everything inside. Now, the reason why it is writing units here is because there is something in Excel we call a named range. So I don't want to go into that now. But a named range in Excel is just like something like in Excel now in Excel now, or whenever you are working on a formula, something people do in mathematics. If you want to solve a word problem, they say that the father is is not a father can be 5 years old. The father is like 50 years. The son is 14 years, and something 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 something. Then you now write, let the father be F, let the sum be S. So that's exactly what Excel can do. So there are some times when instead of showing some cells, you can see instead of writing A1, A2, all those things, it is writing unit. That is because unit is a named range. I'll show you where that can be found. Okay, I'll show you where that can be found. But and then we'll try to do more research on that. Since it's not part of our agenda for today, so of all the unit is 41.58. Why? It was because I used the average function. And so that is the same thing for multiplication. So I don't want to go over multiplication and division because we have done multiplication already in our last spreadsheet where I did 55 times 5 and all those things for the unit. So that is the same for multiplication and division. And if you work based on that, you can do so many things. You can do so many things. For example, for people who are into science and you do experiment, whenever you generate your raw data in an experiment, for some of you in science class, you know, for some of you are in science class, okay, and so as a science student, you do physics practical. Some of you are doing physics practical. The truth is that Excel applies to everybody. So maybe for secondary school or maybe even university, people do physics practical, and then you have calculated something, and then from that thing you have calculated, you want to calculate this thing, you want to calculate what is this thing times this, what is this thing minus this, because you have understood a way formula can work. Now let us do something. Now I've gone up again. Let us say I want to calculate in this place. I want to calculate the average price per item. What is the average price per item? It will be total cost over total unit. True or false? Can you type it? Let me even see if you are following. Total price over total cost. If you want to do that, because these are ways, because these are ways in which we do bigger calculation by dividing it into smaller bits. So in Excel, you have a spreadsheet like this, and you want to use it to do a kind of calculation. So here I can type something like unit price. Okay, so unit price is total price over the top number of units. And so unit price will give us something like equals to this. So I want to say dollars over unit. Easily I can say is equal to this over this space. If your mic is muted, you can. If your mic is on, please you can mute. Okay. Okay, thank you. So once you do that, press enter. Can you see? I can press enter by pressing this arrow, this mark here. I press enter, and then you can see I have a unit price. And so this is just something very very straightforward that I want you to develop on formulas, and you can do a whole lot of things. So whenever you see some big Excel formulas, it's not because they are so big, but it's just because they combine so many formulas together, and then that's why you are now seeing it as if it's one very big thing. And if I want to copy the formula down, I don't need to type in the formulas one by one. Like I said, I just need to double click here and I go down. And so why my colleague Victoria will just talk about how you plot graphs, because of course some of you do lab report. Some of you are project students in the university. Some of you are going to do many things. Some of you want to see how do we plot this graph from this chart now. How do I plot this? How do I plot that? How do I do a pie chart? How do I do a bar chart? How do I do an histogram? All those things are also very important on Excel. Or you are doing your project, they now say, okay, what, some of you are doing physics practical, all those things, and you say, how do I see the result and conclusion? And then you want to copy, you want to do a graph that you paste in Microsoft Word. Those things you can do it on Excel. So Victoria will just come up shortly to talk about formulas, and from there to talk about charting functions, and from there we just talk about more advanced things, which I believe with your background which you have done now, you should be able to catch up with if functions, VLOOKUP and the like. So Victoria, you can have the stage.
All right. Thank you so much, Tio. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'll just be sharing my screen now. Sorry, I'm trying to share my screen.
You can share your screen.
Yes, I am. Can you confirm if you can see this my screen?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so we'll just go straight into creating charts, different kind of charts. So I have this data. I used it the last time. So we just want to use something like this. So assuming you have a data like this, you want to know okay, let me just call this unit sold. Let me call this price. You want to know the movements or the how it relates. Let me put it that way. We come here to insert. So here we have recommended charts, we have bar charts, we have something like this, we have the pie charts, we have line graphs, and a number of them. You can also do a pivot chart. So what you need to do is to highlight the data you want to put in a graph. You highlight all of them, and so it's as simple as ABC. Oh, this data is not even it's not well aligned. So let me just do something else. Okay. So putting this in a chart, I want to put this in a pie chart to see exactly what it will look like. So you just come here, put it in a chart, and just like this way. So to edit this, you want to, you can't really see how many percentage applies to this, how many applies to this particular value. In fact, it's just so scattered, and I don't understand which is 1 to 10. So what you need to do is to pick a particular chart that would give you what you want, something like this. There are a number of them. If you come down here, there are a number of them. And then you also have to name it, to rename it, or to make it aligned. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think it relates to this unit sold and the price. What this pie chart is showing is trying to explain, trying to analyze this particular data. Or let me think. I think pie chart is not the best to use for this particular data. So let me just put this in a line graph. We have something like this. This one. So okay, please can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
All right, so I'm trying to analyze the movement
Yes.
between these two data, the unit sold and the price, and that's why we have something like this. So if it's a data that is well aligned, you would see how it would come out to show you, okay, this is just a straight line, this increased, this came down at this point. This is what happens when it was 13 naira. This is the quantity that was demanded for, that for those that are that studying economics. So we just use something like this, and then you edit it. You can edit it, you can type whatever it is that you want to chart. So whatever it is I'm typing will always show in my formula bar, which is this particular bar here. I'm sure Tualade must have mentioned that. So analysis of price, and units. So this is just like a demo, just like a demo, just to demonstrate how exactly you can bring in your charts and your graphs. So we can put this in a box, just like an histogram, or whatever it is that we want. Sorry about that. So that's basically about charts and graph. There is actually so more, but I don't think this data is the best to show exactly how you can do it. But coming to this insert tab, clicking on the recommended charts, we have whatever charts you want to create. Okay, let me just do something like this and put it in a pie chart. I have this. I want to know how many percentage relates to the first one. So it will always bring up something like 1 2 3 to 9, and that's because we have 9 counts here. That's the data is 9. But if I look at this place now, this number 1, the color it's showing me royal blue color. I know this is that this 2% here. So what you can do is to edit this particular one to just say, okay, this is say for example, okay, let me just do something more practical. I have maybe Joshua, Victoria, Victor, Victory, and Tomiwa. Okay, so we want to know Tomiwa. Dami has 5 units, or let's just say pen. Number of pen Dami has. Dami has 5 pen. Debbie has 10, and Tomiwa has 45. I want to see it in a graph, in a pie chart rather. We have something like this. So this is what I was talking about, showing me that okay, this particular color, this light color blue here is amount that relates to Dami. This is for Joshua. This, it's just to show a representation of your data. That's exactly what we use all these charts for. We want to see it. It helps you go on, we carry out the analysis, help you understand what your data is like, just for a more clarification. Let me try to bring this in a bar chart. So we have something like this. We have this amount to Debbie, Dami, Debbie, Joshua, and on and on. So sometimes it can change. Let me just put 25 here. Do you see the changes? Anything can happen actually. So you notice that, oh, there was a mistake. Marvelous actually has 50 and not 40. So it changes. It just gives you the analysis of exactly what data it's like, instead of just typing it out. So yeah, you might have very large data. You could have, say, 1,000 data, and then you want to see everything at a glance and understand, oh, this amount is for this particular person or this particular thing. So bringing it up in a bar chart, so for your assignments, for your projects analysis, it's very important too. So that's just how to go about charts. So Alade, would you like to add something, please?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's just add one or two things. So the graph, of course, the charts are very important in the sense that be able to describe your data as you have said. And what you want to do is that if you go to insert, if you click on, so Victoria, can you click on that chart? So some of you here, if you are using Excel 2010, can you type yes inside the chat? If you're using Excel 2010, can you type yes? Or 2007, 2010? Okay. So 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 you are going to see, okay, good. All right, I can see 2007. So some of these things have some slight changes, but what is important for you to know, so the way it is on Excel 2010, like on my own now, if I put on my screen and I do the same thing, you will not see design, you will see chart design. Can you see those last two tabs? You can see home, insert, page layout, formula, data, review, view, help, now design and format. So Victoria, can you click outside the chart? You see that the design and format will disappear. Can you see it has disappeared? So that is because those things are just specific to the chart that you are creating, so that you not wonder and say, where did it go to? The only reason why you see all those advanced tabs are because you are currently working on the chart. And so if you want to change some things on the chart, because there are sometimes you might not like the color, you might not like the background, and all those things. Okay, she has said I found it. You might not like the background, so you might need to customize. When I say customize, you might need to specify one or two things. So because of that one, you can try to explore this design and format. So you can see that Victoria was playing with colors. So Victoria, can you change the template again? Can you change the template again? Can you change the template? Can you see? So Victoria is playing around with the colors. So you can play around with it as you like. And so someone is asking that, how do I change the chart? Someone is asking a question. I just saw the question now. I said, how do I delete the chart and insert another one? Now there are two different things. There are sometimes you don't want to delete the chart. There are sometimes you want to change the chart to another one. So under that design tab, Victoria, can you click on change chart type? So change chart type under, yeah, towards the right, change chart type. Yes. So it's not, so you might not want to delete it. You might want to just change the chart type. So there are so many charts in Excel that you can play around with. There is pie chart, there is bar chart, and all that one. There is change chart type. So what I would advise you to do is that I want you to get the names, the specific names that we are using, the specific terminologies. And then when you go online, no, I talked about Excel community. Excel community. There's one Excel community I will really like you to be very familiar with. I will type it now. They call it Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow. They answer a lot of questions that people have concerning all these software and applications. So if you're even into programming, you should be very friendly with Stack Overflow. So Stack Overflow, just search for Stack Overflows, because what we are using here, we cannot cover for everybody's Excel version. Some people are using 2007. 2007 has a whole lot of limitations. For instance, Excel 2010 has 1 million rows. 2007 has lesser than that. So based on that, you use Stack Overflow so that you can know where to find it. But it is still basically the same name, change chart type, so that you can know where it is located for your own Excel version. So just what I want to add to what Victoria said. All right, thank you, Victoria. All right, Victoria, I can continue. I'm done.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Sorry about that. So the next thing we are going to be looking at now is how to um, do is how to concatenate. How to concatenate. So that's doing that is if you are using. Okay, let me just close, delete all of this. So you're asking If you want to delete your chat, you can just click on it and delete. That's all you have to do, but it's gone. Although you can undo and it's come back. Just delete if you want to delete it. Like you don't want to change it, you just want to delete it, you can just delete it. So that's all about charts and graph. If there are any more questions, you just let me know.
Always call your junior assistant or advisor.
Okay, so how to concatenate? Sorry, please, my network went off. Sarah, please, can you just continue? So I don't get thrown off the class while explaining. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much. All right, so let me just pick it up. So can you stop sharing, Victoria? All right, thank you very much. So so I'm going to just I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to share this book one. So remember that we have been working on this book one before. I've been working on this book one before. Okay, so someone is asking, how do I print the chart? Anything that has to do with printing on any Office document, any Office app, just go to Control P, print. So anything that has to do with printing, that is still consistent. Now, when you hear concatenate, please don't be intimidated by that big word. It is very useful in the sense that there are sometimes the data does not come the way you want it. This is exactly what I'm saying. How many of you have wondered sometimes, if I ask this question, if it's true, just type yes. Sometimes when you receive the name of people, maybe you're a class captain or you're a class rep or whatever thing you are, and then you see something like this, first name. You see another thing like this, last name or surname. Let's type surname. Let's use Nigerian English, surname. And then but what they want you to submit is not first name and surname separately. They want you to submit full name. But you do not know how to make the first name and surname into full name, and you have a challenge. How many of you if you have experienced that challenge before, can you just type yes inside the chat? Can you type yes inside the chat? You find, maybe you try to see how can I combine. So let's say I'm looking at Adedeji. I like that name. It's like even the first thing I'm seeing here. I see Adedeji, and I have here Adeleye. But what I need to see is actually Adedeji, Adeleye. I have another name here. I can see another name here. I can see Favor. I can see the surname. OKEH. I'm going to just use Lay. Please, if I did pronounce your name well, please pardon me. Please. Pardon me. Emmanuel Omiwole. Emmanuel Omiwole. But not now. What they want to see is not first name separately from the surname. What they want to see is actually everything together as per Adedeji Adeleye, just straightforward. Favor, okay, just straightforward. They want to see something like this. Adedeji Adeleye. This is what you are supposed to submit. This is what they look for, because the person said, I don't have time to be combining all these things together. So how do you combine all those things together? That is concatenate. You want to combine text together. That's what concatenate does for you. And so to concatenate, and some of you here, you have businesses and you have, different kinds of data that you feel that are supposed to be together, but the way it came in a separated, scattered form. So how do you now bring it together inside one column? So concatenate will be very useful for you. So please, if you're in that category, I would advise that you pay a lot of attention here at this point. So just going back, whenever you're using a formula, I said that you start with equals to. Please, it is very, very important. You start with equals to. So as usual, I start with equals to. So because I start with equals to, Excel knows that I want to type a formula. So there are two ways to do that. Number one is that you can use and. There's something we call and. This is what they call and. How many of you can find? How many of you can find and on your keyboard? This thing, this and. If it is on your keyboard, if and is on your keyboard, can you? I mean, it's supposed to be there, but if you can find and on your keyboard, can you type yes? If you can find this thing on your keyboard, you're supposed on my own keyboard, I will need to press Shift 7 on my keyboard. So if you can find and on your keyboard, can you type yes? If you can find and on your keyboard, can you type yes? I want to see our responses now. Can find and on your keyboard. Okay, I can see yes. Oh, very good, very good, very good. Okay, it's different. If someone is saying yes on that space, okay. Whichever one works for you, okay, that's good, that's good. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your responses. Thank you. It's just that we are following. That's very great. So I want to combine them together. So how do I do that? How do I do that? How do I do that? I press equals to. Why did I press equals to? I say that again because it is a formula. Now you are not now it will be very, very now imagine that you are so skillful in typing and you are so fast and you type it okay. But what if there are about 500 people in that Excel file? Are you going to type for all of the 500 of them? You know that is not realistic. So that's why you need to know how to use formula here. So the first way I can do that is by using something that we call concatenate. Concatenate is a function. The second one is even more easier. So concatenate is spelled C-O-N-C-A. So before I even press it out, you can see that there's already concatenate showing here. If you can see concatenate, can you type yes again? Let's see if you have it on your own Excel. It should be on everybody's Excel actually. If you can say concatenate, say yes. Okay, I can see Mariana, yes. Umaru, yes. Okay, I can see your yeses already. Okay. So it means that we can find concatenate on our key on the Excel function list. So now if I press concatenate as usual, can you see that there's something here? Text 1, text 2, text 1, text 2. So how do I want it to be? First name space Abi surname. Now let's do this. Let's assume that I forgot about the space. You see what I told you before. It will apply here now. So I press what is the text one? I want its first name to come first. So I press Adedeji. So how do I separate the first name from the last name? According to the function, I have told you before that you use a comma, because comma is the one that will tell us that we have finished typing text one. No, now we want to move to what? Text two. So I press a comma. So now comma is saying that, okay, now that you have finished text one, now put in text two. And so the text two, I want it to be the surname. I press surname. I press what I want. So the surname is Adeleye. I press it. So you can see writing concatenate J3, which is Adeleye, and K3, J3, which is Adedeji, K3, which is Adeleye, and then I close it. Can you see that I've closed my bracket? If I press enter here, it's writing Adedeji Adeleye. Is this how a name is supposed to be written? Type yes or no if you agree. Is this how someone's name is supposed to be written? Yes or no? Let's do that fast. No. Okay, Maru is saying no. Okay, spacing. Thank you very much. He said there should be a space. So, but how do I put in a space? Because a space is not a formula, it's a text. Abi. So how do I bring in that space? Umaru is saying no. I need more responses, please. I need another response. If you think, do you agree? Someone is disagreeing. Okay. Ogenetega is saying no. Okay. Now this is not how it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to have a space. It's like we are following seriously. Now, how do I bring in a space? You remember when I told you that if you want to type in a text inside a formula, you enclose it inside a quotation mark. And so I am going to bring in space this time around inside a quotation mark so that it can be part of this formula. So now my text 2 before was K3. Now I will make space my text 2. So that space, what I do is that I put it inside the quotation mark. So quotation mark, first one, space, second quotation mark, comma. So it is telling me that text 1 is J3, text 2 is space, text 3 is K3. Now let me press enter. Does it look like what we want? Yes or no? Yes or no? Now it is there. Someone is typing awesome. Yes. Now, of course, let me now drag it down. So I have your names here, inside. In fact, let me even, so the good thing about formula is that if you bring in new things, it can apply for you. So I think I have a friend here. I like him. He has been very active. Umaru. He has been very active. So let me type Umaru. So if I drag this thing down, can you see? It is still applying for the same thing. Umaru is still working that way. So that is something about formula. Formula helps you to reproduce an action. What I say reproduce, it means that something that you have done before, it allows you to do it again. Let me use Abibat. I can see one person here, Abibat Sani, Abibat, Sani, Sanni. Okay. I can do that. See? So that is just something about concatenate. So this one is using function. No, now I have taught you how to use it as function. Now let's do it again. What if I don't know that concatenate exists? Let us assume that you are using Excel 1999 or whatever Excel that has never really existed. Let's say Excel is not that advanced, and for one reason or the other, concatenate function was not, we could not find it. There's another way you can do that. So as usual, if I want to start a formula, I start with equals to. So first name, Adedeji. So if I want to add something to it, because concatenate function sometimes might be very cumbersome, might be like typing function. So what you do is that you use this sign for people. Sorry, let me just use a technical word. Just know it, okay? Just know it. Just know it for knowing sake. It's called the ampersand symbol. Ampersand symbol, just for knowing sake. Just learn that. And I use and. And so when I say and, Adedeji, and what? And space. And his surname, Adeleye. Enter. I think it still gave us the same thing. True or false? I think it still gave us the same thing. Yeah. So happy bad Sunny. So that's it. So I just applied. So that's just that's something that works concatenate. And I hope I'll be able to apply this thing. I'll see a way to apply it, inside these things as we go on. So this is just concatenate. So do you have my permission for us to go into deeper things in Excel? Do you have your permission, Victoria, to go into the deeper things now? Do you have your permission?
Yes, please. Just make it explanatory enough so they could understand.
Okay.
Like I said,
Oh.
we have some secondary school students here, and someone just sent me a private message that she's struggling to follow, to understand. So you could just explain. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So now we've done quite a whole lot of things now, and we want to just look at something entirely different. I told you, Excel is very useful. It can do a whole lot of things. A whole lot of things. There are sometimes in life, there's something we call uncertainty. What uncertainty? Uncertainty means that now, okay, let me give you this example. There are two things that can happen today. Is either rain falls or rain does not fall, true or false? There are two things that, these are like events and all that. Okay, so there are uncertainties inside stuff, and then if you want to allow Excel to bring in that your mind, the thing is that you are the one doing the thinking. right? You are the one doing the thinking. This is the way programming works. Even spreadsheet is still a form of programming. You are the one doing the thinking. And since you're the one doing the thinking, you also want Excel to think similarly to the way you are thinking. So you must bring in your thinking into what Excel is thinking. And so that is why we have something in Excel called logical functions. Logical functions are talking about logic. And one of them, logic is just like thinking. Some of you have done something in mathematics we call number line, number line, number line. And in number line, if a number is to the right of zero, it is positive. If a number is to the left of zero, it is negative. So that means that any number to the right of another number on the number line means that number is greater than it. And that's why we have inequalities, which is greater than or less than. All those things that you have done as per inequalities, those things also apply in Excel. Now let us do this thing. I will ask you some questions. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Let me type 2, 2, 3, 4. We are going to do a test together now. So for some time, you guys are going to unmute yourself. Okay. And once you are done, please, we are going to do an exercise together now. So let me generate random numbers between 2 and 10. Round between. I've done that before. I'll do that again. Round between 2 is the bottom. The top is 10. So is a function just to generate random numbers. I press enter and I go down. And just because I don't want the numbers to be changing, I copy it, I paste it back as values. So I paste it back as values. It is under this home around this side clipboard. You should be able to see paste values here. So I paste it back as values. So you can see that the formulas under it has disappeared. So it means I'm set. Now I'll be asking some questions now. 2 and 2 is 2 greater than 9. Just type true or false. Okay, don't worry, don't bother to omit. 2 greater than 9, true or false? We test everything one by one. So please, one of us. 2 is greater than 9, true or false? False. 3 greater than 5, true or false?
False.
Okay, so unmute, or just unmute. Now 5 greater than 3. Now what I'm doing here is that now let's come again. We have let me name this thing number 1, and let me name this thing number 2. So I'm trying to show you now that Excel has the ability to decide if something is true or false based on how it was asked. So let me take it again from random. So because someone said she's lost. So I will do this for the last time. Of course. So please, in case you are not catching up, there's the opportunity to watch the video so that you can learn at your own pace. So let me take this again. Equals to. So the only thing is that it will change the figures that I put there. So there's a function that allows me to generate random numbers on Excel because we don't have so much time. We want to generate our random numbers. So I use random between. So random between, as I press R, it is already bringing random between. I press random between. I say random between 2. So before for me to move to bottom to top, I press comma. Top is 10. I press 10. I close it. Now this thing I'm doing is very important because the next thing I want to explain is going to depend on this. So 2, 6. So I drag it down. So please pay attention so that you will not miss from the next thing I want to explain under conditional, conditions in formulas. Now we have been doing formulas as normal things before, but we've not really talked about formulas that can have conditions. So now, because I don't want these numbers to be changing, I want to copy it and paste it back as values. So I go to clipboard and then can you see paste values? I explained that when the class started. So people that join late, this is how you change something from a formula to just a normal figure. I mean like number or value. So I paste it back as a value. So that way, that 2 that was a formula before is no longer a formula. It is just as if I typed it inside. So now we want to test some things. So this is OMA. Let's call it test 1. So 2 and 2. Okay, sorry, let me change this one to 3. I don't want anything to be the same thing. 3. Now, between 2 and 2 is greater than 3. True or false? So can we just answer? 2 is greater than 3. True or false?
False.
3 is greater than 10. True or false?
False.
4 is greater than 5. True or false?
False.
Now, wow. Is it only false? 5 is greater than 6. True or false?
False.
6 is greater than 9. True or false?
False.
False.
All of them are false.
No, it's not.
No.
7 is greater than 2. True or false?
True.
True.
Sorry, I don't. Sorry. 8 is greater than 2. True or false?
True.
Now that you have done that, now
True.
we want to this thing that we have done. We want Excel to tell us. We don't want it to now because Excel has the ability to test some things for you. Because there are some formulas that, based on whether what you ask Excel to test is true or false, it will determine what to calculate. So that is what we call if functions. It based on what you test with Excel. Excel will determine what to calculate because you can tell Excel different options. But if this one happens, do this. If this one happens, do that. So because I know you must have been of if functions and you wonder what does if function actually do, you will see it now. So let us start from this basic thing. Now look at this thing now. If I want to repeat it on Excel, I'll first start. If I want to start with a formula, can you mute ourselves now? We are done with our thing now. Now, if I press equals to, because equals to is what starts a formula, equals to, I will say that if this equals to number 1 greater than number 2, that's how I do a test. So I say equals to number 1. So if I say equals to this is equal to this, it's just like I say I'm doing a test. Number 1. Now greater than on Excel is just like this. Less than on Excel is this. Greater than or equals to on Excel is this and this. Less than or equal to in Excel is this and this. Okay. So now 2 greater than 3 or all these ones. So I want to test. I want to see what happens if number 1 is greater than number 2. So I will now say this one greater than this one. And then I press enter. Do you see what Excel did for us? Excel has tested it and has told us, can you see here? This one is what we typed with our hand. This one is formula. So Excel has the ability. Now, see, let me change this one to 11 to show you that it was really working. Do you see that 11? Do you see that it changed to true? How many of you observed that it has changed to true? Now, let me change this 7 that was higher than 2 before. Let me change it to 1. You see what is happening here? So Excel has the ability to test. It has the ability to test conditions. It has the ability to test conditions because there are some formulas, there are some calculations that you do that are based on condition. We are going to do something very interesting. I'm going to show you guys how your lecturer grades you. I'm going to show you guys how your lecturer grades you. And that's why, like, you have a class and you're like 200 students. And then you see that how does the lecturer know that this one's called A, this one's called B, this one's called C, this one's called D? I'm going to take that as an example and we move on. So once you do the example, I leave if functions, I move to another thing. Okay, is that okay by you? So you're going to see how a lecturer grade is saying, this thing is about solving problems. That's what we came here to do. We came here to see Excel for students because as a student, it is expected that you solve problems. And I hope so Victoria is our host. I'm just a guest facilitator, so I have to take instructions from her. So are we good to go on from here? Victoria.
Yes, please. We
Okay,
can.
okay. Thank you very much, Victoria. All right. So now looking at this now, let us take it from the simple one. So I'm going to open another sheet. So Victoria has taught us that already. I use this plus sign, I open another sheet. I open another sheet. That's sheet 2. So now let us do something now. I want to test. So let me have a column. This thing I want to do task. Test if number is positive or negative. Okay. Now I'll have a column. I'll call it number. So this is basic thing. We'll start with this one. Then we'll move to the advanced one of grading students. So maybe you can go and teach some of your lecturers how to properly grade, because you see some lecturers make mistakes. Say, I was supposed to have it in this course, but you are giving me B. Maybe because the lecturer did not use Excel. Maybe if the lecturer has used Excel, we wouldn't have made that mistake. So you can teach those people. Who will do that? Can you type yes? If you do that, can you type yes? I didn't send you. Don't mention my name. Oh. But if you think you can do that, can you type yes? Nobody is typing yes. It's like we fear them. Okay. Okay. So now let's see number. Now number test. So now what I want to do is that I want to test if some numbers are positive or negative. So let's start with -1. Of course, it is obvious if they are positive or negative, but we want Excel to test it for us. We don't want to do it ourselves. 5, 4, -7, 6, 9, 6, -14, 8. Now, just these few numbers are put here. We want Excel to test it, whether it's true or false. So that's why we know have something called if functions. If function. I will type it in the chat box now. You see what I'm saying? If function. Okay, someone is saying you did, but we're enroll you another school. I don't have school for you. I don't have, sorry, sir. So just as simple as it is, if. So I will show you what can if do. What is the power of if? What is the power of if? Okay, so the speaker sometimes go low. Okay, I will take note of that and ensure that you can hear me audibly. Okay, if function. Now looking at this thing, as usual, if I want to type a formula, as usual, I've told you severally that you start with equals to. Okay, that's how you start a formula. And then you press if. If. Now that we have pressed that if, okay, now that logical test is that thing that we have done before that we're saying true or false is what we call a logical test. So can somebody tell me what is the logical test to find out if a number is positive or negative? Let me see who will get it. Can you type it in the chat box? Let me see who will get the logical test. How do I know if a number is positive or negative? Let me see the logical test. So who will be the first to get it? I'm watching the chat box now. Who will be the first to get it? How do you know if a number is positive or negative? Nobody has given me a response. Is it that we don't know it or we are still typing? How do I know if a number is positive or negative? Even my friends are not hearing from me. I'm not seeing Adedeji typing. I'm not seeing Damilola Kinlaye. I'm not seeing your response. Favor, okay. I'm not seeing your response. So how do I know if a number is positive or negative? Okay. So let me give one person an opportunity. So can somebody just unmute and just tell us how do I know? So I will ask um uh, okay, the sign, okay. So Adedeji Adeleye, okay, the sign, thank you very much. The sign it bears, okay, very good. The sign it bears, okay, but I want something that is a mathematical in nature. You people are not giving me the answer I want. Is there anybody that'll give it another try? The answer I want, give me an equation, like an equation thing. Is something that is not very difficult. Don't worry, I'll just say it from here. So using the number line, if you are familiar with the number line, a number that is positive is a number that is greater than 0. True or false? True or false? Thank you. I can see it now. True or false? And then a number that is negative is a number that is what? Less than 0. Now, this is what we do now. So I'm now saying that if this number, so how will I pick the number? I click on this thing number. And I'll say if this number is greater than 0. Can you see what I've done now? I said if this number is greater than 0. Okay, before I even do that, let me put test, let me put result, let me break it down into smaller bits for you. Now, I want to see what the test will give me now. Okay, let's see what the test will give us. Thank you very much. I can see very comprehensive response now. Thank you. I'm very grateful. I appreciate. So before we even talk about if, let's do that same thing we did in sheet 1 on this thing. So this number is greater than 0. So let's see which one will be true and which one will be false. So -1 is greater than 0. It says it's false. 5 is greater than 0. It says it's true. 4 greater than 0. It says it's true. 14 is greater than 0. It said it's false. Do you think the values here are correct? Is it correct? True or false? What Excel is showing us? Is it correct? Is it correct? Is it what we expect to see? Is it what we expect to see? Yes. Thank you. Yeah. I can see that. I can see that. Now, that is what we call the logical test, because in every if statement that we write as a formula in Excel, there always need to be a part of that formula. I'm taking my time to explain this because I will build up on that, and we are going to grade some students. Once I grade those students, I move on. Okay. So because Excel can test it for you and tell you what answer to choose. So if I press if now, if logical test is what? Number, this one, greater than 0. So now Excel will now ask you that, okay, what is the value if it is true? Can you see here? So yeah, because I've pressed comma, it assumes that I've inserted the logical test. Now the next thing is asking me for now is, what is the value if it is true? Now I have told you that if you want to put a text inside a formula, you enclose it in quotation mark. You are going to find this thing very, very useful. You see what I'm saying? You're going to enclose it in quotation mark. And when you enclose it in a quotation mark, I now say, okay, if a number is greater than 0, I expect it to be positive. So I put positive in quotation mark, positive. Then for me to move to value if false, I press another comma. And then I want to now know again, if it is greater than 0, positive, and if it is less than 0, what should it be? Let me see your answer quickly in the chat box. Let me see who are those people are falling. And if it is less than 0, what should it show us? Let me see your answer. Sharp. No, 0. Negative. Thank you. Negative. So what will I do here? Negative. Okay. And then I press enter. Negative. Do you see what Excel just did? So it means that Excel has tested this thing and it has told me not just whether it's true or false, but whether it is positive or negative. Now let me apply this formula down this cell. Can you see it? So Excel has told us that this number is positive or negative because I told it to determine what it will be based on what I put inside. I've told it to determine the value if it is true. I've also told it to determine the value if it is false. So the calculation could go in different ways. Now let's see whether this thing is doing rubbish or not. Let me change this -7 to 7. Let us see if it will change from negative to positive. So let me change -7. Let me change it to 7. Did you see that it has changed? Yes, it has actually changed. And that is how you do conditional function. So that is why you say, so somebody say mine is saying false instead of negative. So the reason why your own will show false instead of negative, that maybe you did something like this. You went ahead, you only put value if it is true. You did not specify value if it is false. It will put false. For everywhere, it's supposed to put negative. So you have to specify the value if it is true, and also specify the value if it is false. So I want the value if it is false to be, let me write minus. Let me change it to negative. Let me just write minus. Can you see? Can you see? So Excel can determine, so let me change the one back to -7. Minus. So Excel can determine based on your logical test. So now let me give you a recap. So in this if statement, there are 3 components. Number 1 is your logical test. So you put in your logical test. Your logical test to know if a value is positive or negative is whether it is greater. What happens if it's greater than 0? It will determine whether it is positive or negative. So I have put here the logical test. Another thing I've put here is what? The whether it's positive or negative. Whether it's positive, so value is true is positive, value is true is negative. So now we are going to do different kinds of grading now. Now, the first kind of grading I want to teach you is, let us assume that you have a course. Now, for there are some courses that you do, it is not working based on A, B, C, D, E, and F. It is either you pass it or you fail it. How many of you have done such kind of subjects or courses before? Can you type true? Can you type true in the chat box? Or yes, just type yes. If you have done a course that is either you pass or you fail, can you type yes in the chat box? Can you type it in the chat box? If maybe it's either pass or fail, it doesn't have A, B, or C. Oh, very good, very good, very good. Now let us assume that the pass mark is 50, and we want to grade it. The pass mark is 50. So let's call this score and grade. So let's call this score. Let's tell Excel to let's say that. Let's write 40, 8. Let's write 40, 50, 60, 20, 80, 90, 25. I want to know, based on these scores, who passed and who failed. And I want to use Excel to do it. So how exactly are we going to do that? We want to know who passed or who failed with Excel. What we do is that I go back, I use an if statement. I press equals to, because it's a formula, I press equals to. Then the next thing, because it is a conditional thing, I press if. And the next thing I do again, I open it. So it's asking me, what is the logical test? It means for you to pass, you must score 50 and above. What does that mean? It means that your score must be greater than or equals to 50. So I press score here. So it must be greater than or equals to. So these are your greater than or equals to 50. So if it's greater than, if or equals to 50, the value, if it is true, the person passed, pass. And if not, the person failed. So who passed and who failed? Failed. So the person that called 40, Excel is saying that the person failed. Yeah, so someone is asking, is it necessary to use equals to? Yes. If it is a formula that you are working with, yes, you must use equals to. But if it is not a formula, it is just like you're typing somebody's name, address, phone number, you don't need to use equals to. But if it is a formula, you must use equals to. So that is the answer to your question. So fail, and if I populate it downward, so 50 passed, 60 passed, 20 failed, 80 passed, 90 passed, 25 failed. So let us say I upgraded this person's score from 25 to 45. The person still failed because it doesn't meet my Excel cutoff, my logical test. But let me see, the person now scored 51. So the person that failed before has now what? Passed. So that is one thing that you can do with Excel, conditional. So it's very useful. It's very useful because there are sometimes I don't know how you would do how it will be useful, but there are even sometimes that when you are doing a calculation, when you are doing a calculation, you you are not there are different possible outcomes of that calculation, and so that is why you use it. So it is not only compulsory that you must use test or fail. Now let us do something. Let us write another thing called let's do another thing, and this will be the last thing I'll do on this simple part before I just show you a more advanced part. Just it's not for advanced, just a more advanced part where we have more than one condition. So it is not only compulsory you must write it as the thing must return as a text. Sometimes you might want to do some calculations. So let's go here to calculation. Let me just write calc here. So let us say that if you passed, if you let's say I want to upgrade student, and I want to say that anybody that scores, now let's say upgrade, now let's say I am the lecturer taking that course now, and I say, oh, let me have mercy on this student, I am so passionate about them and I want to boost their score by 15 marks. But the only people that I will boost their score by 15 marks are those people that score 40. No. Are those people that scored 20 and below. Or let's say, yeah, let's just use that. Let's say the people that score 20 and below are those people I'm going to boost their score. So if you score 20 and below, I will boost your score. So the lecturer announced that on the class group chat. And then the students were very happy. But there are about 400 students in that class. And it is not easy for the lecturer to be going one by one to be checking who scored less than 20 and who did not score less than 20. It's going to take so much time. The lecturer said, no, I'm going to use an Excel function. So equals to if. If you understand that scenario, can you type yes in the chat box? If you understand what the scenario I just painted, can you type yes in the chat box? I'm not seeing your yeses. Okay, someone said yes. Someone saying yes. Now, I say logical test. So if this score is less than or equal to 20, comma, add 15 to this. So it say if this one is less than or equal to what? 20. So this is the logical test. What should be the new score? That score plus 20. So I said plus just 15. So if this is less than or equal to 20, I said add 15 to the original score. So I'll press this score that is there before plus 15. And if it is not true, don't change it. Just give me back what was there before. So if it's false, just give me back what was there before originally, which is this. Now look at this. I said, if this one is less than or equal to 20, logical test. The value is true, add 15 to it. Still that same stuff, still that same score. And if it's not true, just leave it the way it was. Don't change it. They don't deserve it. Then I close it. Then I now press enter. So because you score 40, you don't deserve to be upgraded. Now observe before I even apply the formula, which of the scores deserve to be upgraded? Can you type it in the chat box? Which of the scores deserves to be upgraded? Who deserves upgrade? What score deserves to be upgraded? Someone said 20. Someone said 20. So let's see if Excel will know that it is supposed to be 20. Let's see if that our condition is correct. So what did you observe? 20 has changed to what? To 35. So I already told Excel the different type of outcomes that can come out of this. So it is not just so look at the difference. Here it is a text, but here you can combine this thing, and the value if true and false can be like a text, and even you can also do it in such a way that the value if true and false can be another formula itself. So that is what formula inside formula. So Excel, you can combine formula. I say formula, formula inside formula. But if you are putting formula inside formula, you don't need to use equals to more than twice. So in this place, I'm not going to write equals to again, because some of you, I know you can make that mistake. You don't need to write equals to again. You only need equals to once, which is at the beginning. And if you're going to write another formula again, you don't need to write another equals to do that. If you got that, can you type yes? If you think you can do that, can you type yes? I've not seen any yes. Can you see yes? Oh yeah, I can see yeses now. Okay, good. Now, no, okay. So that is one thing. Okay, someone is saying no. Okay, so um like I said, you know, what we did is that we try to make sure that this recording is also on YouTube, and we also want it to be like, so you can always go back to check this thing, and maybe you want to practice in a slower form. So please try to get the link. Victoria will surely share with us before the end of the class, so we can go and do that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is um, like something we call lookup. So let me say, before I talk about lookup, I want Victoria to just teach us something very interesting. We are going back and forth so that you can just see different side. Why we combine is that Victoria has more of a background in finance. So that's why you see, so people in finance, you are going to really gain a lot from Victoria. And I have a background of engineering. And so I want Victoria to just show us how to automate sales before I move on to the next one. So Victoria, just have the floor.
Okay, thank you so much, Tiwa. So I'll quickly share my screen and show how to automate. So, but before then, okay, before then, can you see my screen? Hello.
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Okay, yes. So before I teach how to automate sales, there's something I left out the first time. I wanted to show you how to freeze your cell, how to freeze that a row or a column. So have this data here. I just type this in now. I want to have a very large data set. So I'm just going to do this times, let's say 3. Um, I want to show you something real quick. So the way these numbers are looking, I really don't like, and I don't understand what 101E means. That's for many of you that don't understand that. You could just use this comma to put it in thousands form or millions, as the case may be, just for you to understand it. So why I'm doing this is because I want to have very large data sets, just to show you how you can freeze your cell. So I'll just divide this by 12. Just playing around, dividing it again by 15. So you might have quite a number of data sets like this. It's so many, and you want to always scroll down when you have some other things to do. Okay, so I'm just going to enlarge this. I'll just double click on the line and it shows me everything I want. So, but then, like, okay, now we have sales. Let's say this is income. This is our direct costs. Sorry, I'm using this term if you don't understand. We have just can we have over. And then this would be units. Just for example. Now I want to see my last sheet, but then I can't remember if this line is for sales or this line is for turnover. Everything. I have to come back up again to be checking. Okay, this is direct costs. So the best thing to do is there's a way you can freeze your cells. So you just click on where you want to see. So for example, I want to see this. I want to keep seeing this column, and I want to keep seeing this particular row. I want to keep seeing this row rather, and I want to keep seeing this particular row. So this is a column and this is a row. So I'm just going to click on this one here. That is cell B12, and I'm coming to view. I'm coming to freeze panes, and I click on this. If you notice, one other deeper line just came. So please, can you see what I'm trying to show? I'm scrolling down, but then I can still see my first cell, the one that contains the year, the quarter, the income, sales, and all of that. So that's just how to freeze your cells. You can have very large data sets, but then you want to see the title or the heading of the table. So you could just bring that in. Also, when it comes to inserting a table, when I wanted to talk about charts and graphs, I also left this, bringing in a table. So you could just highlight. So Alade taught us how to highlight. Highlighting, or can insert a table from here. This is just showing you where the table array, So I'm just clicking OK. You can see different tables here. You can verticalize it on your system. So anyhow I want it to be, if I want my table to look like this, just to design it really. That's just what this is for. We have quite a number of samples that can be used. But if you don't want anything, just want white and black. So here you go. You have this. Another way to do this is is highlighted. So I just don't want any. I just want everything to be in borders. So just bring a table. So we have something like this. So and now, okay. So going to automating your cells. Oops. I'll be very fast with this. This is usually done by people in maybe accountants or you have a business, entrepreneurs. Are we following? I can't really see the chat, so I need someone to just say I'm following.
Yes, we are following.
Okay, I can see the chat now. Okay, so for you that want my number, I think we're on the same group chat, so you could just send a private message, it's fine. If you want to enlarge a column before inputting the digits, how do you do it? So this is a column. You can see my arrow is showing this plus sign. You just double click and drag. Double click and drag. Yes, a cashier can also do what I'm about to do now. So I want to automate this cell. I want to add. Oh, okay, let me just undo. What I want to do is this. For example, you have maybe you bring in money into your business and then you spend money. So you have your income or the money you bring in as an entrepreneur. Something just happens that you just have to bring in money into your business, and then you expense, like you buy something and then you have to show that, okay, spending. So let me just call this income or money that you bring in into the business. Kindly mute your mic if you are expenses. Just delete this. Oops. Oh. So you see, do you notice what happened now? It's showing me reference to like there's an error. That's because if you notice, or if you remember from the first sheet here, I had automated it. I had used this times this. Sorry, this is this particular cell D2 times 2, and that is what gave me this. And because I have not changed it to values, because I had not changed it to values, that's why we have that is why it's pasted that way. So if I do the same thing now, I copy it like this and make it back here. What Tiwalade showed us the last time, if I delete a particular cell, it will not go off because it's no longer in formula. So I'm just deleting this. Do you notice that it didn't go off anymore? Please, can someone respond? Hello. Okay, yes, okay, thank you. Okay, so I just want to automate this. I'm calling this my income, expenses, and then the cumulative. So I'm just going to see this minus this. It's quite okay. This minus this. Sorry, this is not what I want. This is the example I wanted to use. So I don't, let me not use expenses. Let me say this is maybe director's contribution. If that word is too much, that's whatever you bring into your business as a director of your business or the CEO of the business. I'm doing this because somebody explained that she's an entrepreneur and she wants to understand how she can I should be able to, like, instead of typing everything one after the other. So I'm just doing is equals to this plus this minus whatever I expense. So I want to know, okay, sorry, I use the equal to sign instead of the line. So I want to know how much I have left to me if I buy this, if I bring in this amount. Okay, this is the income I have maybe in the month of we are in May now, and then this is the amount I'm bringing into the business. And during the course of the business, I was able to spend up to, let's say, 20 million naira that month, my expenses. So Excel is showing me that this is how much you have left in your account or in your purse. So we have that here. Let's say the next month, maybe that is in June, I was able to sell up to let's say 45 million, and then my expense that month was 30,000 or 30 million. That's just an estimate, right? So why this is automatically showing here is just because it is automated. Like, that is the formula. That's what I wanted to show you. So because I dragged it down, so whatever I type here, it comes here. If I bring in this 999, just an example, it has deducted this from me. It's just telling me that I'm saying cell G19, that is this cell, add this minus this one. So I can bring in any figure at any time. If I didn't really bring in so many figures, and okay, or let's say I didn't even sell at all in the month of, say, June. Okay, just see this now. So Excel can also do this for you. I didn't sell anything at all, but then I needed money for my business, and then I bring in 50 million that month, and then I expensed 40,000 naira. Didn't really sell so much. I didn't really spend so much. So it's automated. That's just what I want to show you. That it's automated. Okay, so someone also talked about transposing. So if I want to transpose this data, transpose means that okay, the way it is like this, I want to make it to be in a straight line. Let me just do it. When I copy directly, come to where I want to put it, to make it where I want it to be transposed, I just click on, oh no, I want to paste special, so I have transpose here. So my data is no more as long as it used to be. It's just in the vertical form. That's transposing, that I'm changing it from horizontal form into the vertical form. Are there any questions? How do you add and divide in between columns? Okay, I guess you didn't come in early. We explained this earlier. So I have this cell and this cell. You use the equal to sign. So whatever it is you want to calculate in Excel, you have to first of all bring in your equal to sign. That's like telling Excel to wake up. I have something to calculate. So if you just type in anything without the equal to sign, it's not going to work. So to multiply, I click on this cell. So I want to do this times this. I'm clicking on this cell. Simple. Just press the times and this. Enter. It's quite a large figure, so that's why we're having this. So let me just bring it down to 2, 3. Okay, so simple as ABC, we have this times, oops, this times this, and it gives you what you want. You don't need to do that all over again. Just double click here, and then you have the answers for everything. Thank you so much. I'll come back after to already teach us on VLOOKUP and the other formula, pivot table. Thank you. Tiwalede, please, you can continue.
Very much. So that's just covering more part of the basics, of course, because it's not everybody that will get to work with something so advanced. So it's good we try to balance everything to ensure that everyone is having at least a take home, something that you can take back and at least you find it useful to work with at the instant. And so Victoria tried to explain how you can or why you can prepare your spreadsheet for receiving values. So let's say you don't want to be doing some calculations. I mean, just when the when the thing comes, you want to be able to just keep the calculation there, and then you just all you need to do is to put in the value. So you can do that, and she has taught us, which she called automating the spreadsheet. That one is good for people who are business owners. So you have one particular spreadsheet that you have formatted properly, and you want to keep on updating the values there. So you can take your time, prepare it. So maybe you know that I cannot have more than 1,000 entries in the month of October. So you can copy the formula up to like 1,000 entries, and then as you are putting it, it is finding the values, calculating it for you, and then you are getting what you are looking for. So the next thing I want to talk about is going to be on lookup functions. And so what exactly is lookup function? Now, when you hear the word lookup, something should come to your mind that something is lost, right? Something is lost and you are trying to look up. So what are we looking for? What is lost? What is lost? What are we looking for? So that is where we call that is something that we'll talk about in the lookup function. You are assuming that something is lost and you are trying to look for it. Something is lost, you're trying to look for it. And let us give this thing for instance. So now, so many of you have done some things on Excel that was so manual. Like I said, Excel is supposed to make life easy for you. And that is exactly why we are having this section, because we want to try to see how we can make you do things more in an easier way on Excel. And now we want to show you how to look up values that you need in another place on Excel. So let me just go straight to the point. Let me share my screen now. So I'm sharing a new spreadsheet called HR. So now look at the data here. ID code. So if you can see my screen, please just type yes. If you can see my screen. We are gradually approaching the end. So if you can see my screen, say yes. Okay, very good. Yes. Now this is what is going on. We have a database. So, or let's say we have a store, we have a spreadsheet, database, whichever one works with you. It has information for ID code. So this ID code, it means something. So maybe instead of write, there are sometimes you want to be very, like in school now, for people who are students in university, there's something that we call matric number. I'm saying this, please, if you're in university, don't feel irritated. We have some people who are not yet university students here, so I'm trying to carry everybody along. So we have something we call matric number, and for everybody in the university, the matric number is unique to all of them. So same thing here. We have something called ID code. So it is a unique thing for everybody. Let's assume that this is everybody in this company. So they are all of them. These all of them in this company. So we have ID code, we have salary, we have experience. So let us do another thing now. Another thing that I want to do is that VLOOKUP, which is a lookup function, is like, now what if I need this thing somewhere else and I can't be typing? For instance, now this thing, you might not appreciate it now, because some of you work with data of 10 lines, 20 lines, 50 lines, and you can just scroll up and search, control F and find. But by the time you now start working with data of 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, how long will you keep scrolling up and down looking for something that is lost? That is why we need to understand VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP is not the only one that you can use, but for the purpose of this class, it's only VLOOKUP we'll be talking about. Of course, you said, we can't take everything, so we just touch the tips and bits, hopefully, so that you can develop more on it. So I will just talk about VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP. Now let me enable editing on this spreadsheet. Now let me write a VLOOKUP. So this is the spelling of VLOOKUP. V there means vertical lookup. I want to look at a table from top to bottom, and I want to be able to determine what is inside that table. Okay. And so now let us do some things. You are going to do the VLOOKUP in two ways. We are going to do VLOOKUP of a single value, and we are going to do VLOOKUP for another table. Now let us start with the simple one. Like we have been doing, what we do is that we move from the simple to the complex. So we have done the simple part. Now we are moving gradually to the very complex part. And I will show you some things. Now look at this VLOOKUP, for instance. Now let us type something we call this ID code. ID code. Let me type something else. I call it salary. Let me type this something here and call this experience. Sorry, the person that is sneezing. Sorry. Please mute your mic. Sorry. Okay. So now ID code, salary, experience. Now I want to ask all of you a question now. For ID code, now I want to see who will be the first to get it. Now just look at my screen and tell me the answer sharp, and type it inside the chat box. I want to see the first I will get it. For ID code 47927 178. What is the salary? What is the salary? I'm looking at my chat box now. Who will get it first? What is the person's salary? Now look at my screen and tell me the person's salary. For this ID code 47. Okay.
84.3.
Okay. Actually, it's not 84 point, it's 84,000. It's comma 84,381. Okay, very, very good. Now took some time. Now you know why it was so easy for you? It's because you can see it on my screen. What if this thing, look at this thing was just from here to here. So you can easily just scroll down and check it one by one. Now imagine that this data was like 50,000, like I said. Is it realistic to check it one by one? Yes or no? Is it realistic? Is it realistic to check it one by one to know what will be the salary?
No,
It's not
no.
realistic. It's not. So that is why Excel, someone say yes, but stressful. Like when people like work, yeah. Me, I don't like work. I don't like stress myself. That's why I use Excel formulas a lot. Because I don't like stress. And so because I don't like stress, I'm a very lazy person. Okay. So I try to use formulas to help my laziness. Okay. So salary experience. So that's why we have VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP is called vertical lookup. It will look through a table and try to find the value. So as usual, I start with equals to. And what I start with equals to, what do I type here? V look up. V look up. Now I've typed V lookup. Oh, someone said no. V lookup. Now I think you already understand the way function works. So can you tell me all the arguments in this function? Can you type it here? Number one is lookup value. Can you type it there? Lookup value. Can you type it there? What can you see there? What are the arguments there? Lookup value. Okay. Let me see if you actually understand what I'm saying. What are the components of VLOOKUP function? Number one component is, let's take it one by one. Lookup value, table array, column index number, range lookup. All these things are big grammar, but I'm going to break it down for you right here. Now, it's not so big of a grammar actually, but because it's people that did Excel, maybe that's the language that they were inspired to put there. So that's why you are seeing it that way. So you have VLOOKUP, you have lookup value, you have table array, you have column index number, you have range lookup. Now, what is lookup value? Lookup value is that thing. What exactly are you looking for? That is the question. I am looking for ID code in that table. What am I looking for? It is salary, Abby. Salary is what I'm looking for. Now this is it. Let's not mix it up. There is something I am looking for, and there's something that I can use to look for what I'm looking for. Now let me give you this instance. Now I've made some friends here. I think my number one friend, I like Adele Yadedeji is my friend. I think I like Umaru. I like Abibat Sani. Let me see the people who have been commenting regularly. I like Ayotunde, Angel, Dami. So those are my friends for now. Now I'm trying to look for them and I cannot find them. We came to school together and Umaru just disappeared and I'm looking for him. What will I do? I will call Umaru's phone number to look for him. And so in this case, the person I'm looking for is Umaru. But what do I use to look for Umaru? Is Umaru's phone number. Is what I use to look for Umaru. And so that is exactly the way VLOOKUP works. And so what am I looking for? I am looking for salary. But what am I using to look for that salary? I am using the ID code. So that's why when you're looking for the salary, you went and checked that ID code column. And when you now saw the ID code, you now told me what the salary was. And that's exactly what it means. So when you now hear something, that's what they now call lookup. So I can see Abibat San is following as usual. That's why we have something called lookup value. So in this place, my lookup value is this thing. Lookup value is like is similar to that thing I call the phone number. What is that person's phone number? Because I need that person's phone number to be able to look for that person. So because when I have the phone number, I know I'll be able to call that person. So I know that if I know the ID code, I'll be able to know what the salary is. And so that's why we have lookup value I5, this place. So that is comma. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I have what I call table array. Now there's something you're going to see I'm going to do in Excel. Please, it is beyond the scope of this class, so I'm not going to teach it, but I'm going to mention it. So please, if you want to understand more about it, you can go and read more about it, but it's beyond the scope of this class. So this is not a super advanced class, okay? So please, I'm not going to explain too much about it. So now we have something we call a table array. A table array is telling us that, okay, where do you think I can find it? Okay, I'm trying to, now Excel has asked me the first question. Excel asked me that what is lookup value? I told Excel the answer. So I put a comma. So next thing, Excel is asking me that what is the table array? So now I'm telling Excel that give me what I'm looking for should be in between ID code, salary, experience, and it should be in this range. So I'll highlight everything that is here. So this is, so I'm trying to tell Excel that what you're looking for should be found here. I'm telling Excel that what you're looking for should be found here. Let me just use the long method. Can you see here? Table array. Are you seeing this? If you can see what I'm doing, can you type yes? Okay, I've not seen any yes. Okay, Marwan is saying yes. Okay, very good, very good. Now there is something that happens in Excel. Please and please. When after this class, I want you people to go and read more on cell referencing, because there are different ways you write cell references. So it is something that, thank God, this is Excel for students, and students are meant to be studious. They are meant to study. There is something in Excel that we lock these cells, but we don't want to talk about it beyond the scope of this class. So because I don't want this table to be shifting, I want this table to just be, you are going to see the reason why I will do that in my next example, because I want this table to be intact. I don't want the table to be changing. What I do is that I will highlight this thing. So can you see I've highlighted this thing, and then I will press F4 on my keyboard. F4 on your keyboard can be, I don't know how you press F4 on your keyboard, but on my own keyboard, I cannot press F4 directly. I have to press FN beside Control together with F4. On my own keyboard though, I can't press F4 directly, but on your keyboard you can press F4 directly. So my keyboard, I'm pressing FN and F4. If I press it, it will bring in dollar, 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 dollar. What does this dollar, dollar mean? It's not money as per dollar, like money dollar. What this dollar means is that this table, I'm trying to tell Excel that only whatever happens, make sure you use C3 to E45. Whatever happens, don't change it. Make sure you use C3 to E45. I'm trying to tell Excel because I'm doing a very serious search. So I'm telling Excel that focus only on this place. So the way I tell Excel to focus is by locking the cell. So you can go and read more on advanced cell referencing. It's beyond the scope of this class, so we'll not talk about it. Okay. So please bear with us. Now the next thing. So once I've put in my table array, I said I tell Excel that I'm done. Okay. I said okay, fine. I said I say okay, next. I press comma. So the next thing I now put here is called the column index number. So column index number is the relative position. That is a big grammar, but it's not so big as a grammar. Relative position is just trying to tell you that, look at this. Please and please, whenever you are looking up, VLOOKUP look from the left to the right. So ID code must have been the first thing in this range. Oh, ID code cannot be after salary. ID code must always be before salary and experience, because ID code is what we look for the rest. Please take note of that. ID code must be before salary and because ID code is our lookup value. So your lookup value must come as the first column anytime you want to use VLOOKUP. I'm taking my time to explain this because it's something that confuses a lot of people. That's why I'm taking time. It's, if you are in the business world, you find this thing extremely useful, VLOOKUP. Now, column index number, and I'm very happy Victoria added this to our syllabus. I'm so excited. Now we have ID code, salary, and experience. So now let us assume that ID code is number 1, salary is number 2. What is experience? Now, number 3 is experience. What does that mean? It means that according to this table, I selected from C3 to E. I selected from C to E. And so column index number is telling me that this thing has 3 columns, but all the columns have their position. So ID code is the first that we see. That's why it's number 1. Salary is the second that we see. That's why it's number 2. Experience is the third I will see. That's why it's called number 3. So now Excel is now asking me that where will I find, because I'm looking for salary, what do you think will be the column index number? What do you think should be the column index number? Can you give me the answer? Thank you. Ayotunde is saying it's number 2. Very good. Number 2. 2. Thank you. Thank you. 2. Abibat is saying 2. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now I put in 2. So I've told Excel that inside this range, Joe. Now what I'm telling you is that inside this range, I am focusing on the second column to the beginning of that range. So I'm saying that focus on number 1. Don't focus on number 1, which is ID code. Focus on number 2, which is salary. And then I press comma again. So now Excel is asking me that, is it true or false? Now, please, just because of the level of this class is beyond our scope. Anytime you are doing an exact match, because right now we want it to be exactly what we look for. Just look for exactly what I want. So that's why you use false. So please, all these things are terminologies. They are specific to VLOOKUP. So don't take it as so advanced. Don't take it as so confusing. This is because every function has its own rules. So these are the rules that apply to VLOOKUP. So I press false. Then I close the bracket and I press enter. Is it true that ID code 479271778 has a salary of 84,381? Yes or no? Can you confirm? Can you confirm? Yes or no? I'm not seeing your yeses or your no. Now let's change it. Now I want to see. Now let's assume that now we are a bit skeptical. A bit skeptical that this formula might be scam, or this formula might be scam. Or now let me change the ID code. Now ID code. Now this thing. Now tell me what. Let me look at this ID code here. 64162206. 64162206. If you can hear me, can you type yes? If you can hear me, can you type yes? If you can still hear me, can you type yes? Okay, so Umaru, please, you have to check your audio. Other people can hear me. Okay, so now look at this thing. So can you tell me what for this ID code, what is the salary? ID code 64162206. Who is the first that will get it? I'm watching the chat now. ID code 64162206. Who is the first that will get it? What is the salary? Okay. Sorry, Emmanuel. Ayotunde was the first. Ayotunde was the first that got it. Sorry, Emmanuel and Abibat Sani. Ayotunde got it first. Maybe your network is not so that strong. Now let us see if Excel will get it right. So let me type 64162206. Did it get it? Yes. So lookup is something that you can do, yes, with a function. So you can see that functions can do something. Now let's use the same thing for experience. As usual, I start with equals to VLOOKUP. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for ID code. What is the table array? This to this. I use my F4 once again, just to ensure that I want to ensure that I lock it. I don't want it to be moving. I'll tell you the reason why I'm doing that. Let me just take this thing again. Okay. So I lock it. I press FM with F4. Now I said Excel. I'm telling Excel, don't change it. Ensure that it stays in one place. So is it to do that? There's a dollar in front of the column, that's C, and there's a dollar in front of the row, that's 3. So that's $C, $3. So you can read more on, you can write it down, advanced cell referencing. You can try to read more on it. You will understand why I did what I did. Okay. Now, so what is the column index number for experience? For salary we use another number. So what would be the one for experience? Can you type it? Let me see if you are following, if you understand what we did in salary. 3. Thank you. 3. So I put 3 here because this time around we are not looking for the salary, we are looking for the experience, which is 3. And then that will be what? False. Is it truly 10? Is that correct? Is that correct? He said the experience is 10 years. Is that correct? Or 10? Well, I think that's yes. Yeah, it is correct. So that is VLOOKUP for you. Now see what VLOOKUP do. Let's assume that I have made a mistake in this number. I wrote 62205. It wrote error. So whenever you are doing VLOOKUP and you're doing it for so many things at the same time, so whenever you see any, Excel is trying to tell you that, bros, I don't see ammo. So because you are having this error, it means that it did not find it. So that might tell you two things. Is it that maybe you didn't do the formula properly, or you made a mistake in your input value? So you need to go and adjust it. So by ensuring that I correct this thing, 6, I can correct it, and then it's back. So that is for that. So that is one thing about VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP you can do it for one, but another one is that, let us assume that I want to do all these numbers here. I want to get them back. Okay. Let me call this ID code. If you are still following, can you type yes? Okay. Salary, experience. Oh, thank you very much. So I press equals to. If you think you have learned something new with VLOOKUP, can you type yes? If you think you have learned something new with VLOOKUP, can you type yes? Let's see if you are even if you think you have learned something new with VLOOKUP. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. 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 Great. 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 Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. So now let's assume. So there are some times. There are some times it's not, you are not required. This VLOOKUP. Let's say you have another worksheet. So let's take this thing like this. Let's put it in another worksheet. So there are some times you have a different worksheet. Let's say, for example, now you have a worksheet that is like sheet 1, and then in sheet 2 you still need to put their salary, but this thing can now be something else, maybe age or something, but you still need their salary. Do you know that it will not make so much sense? You agree with me? It don't make so much sense that you should be so Obina is asking for the formula. I'm still going to do the same thing here. So you could just follow, or just try to watch YouTube. It won't make so much sense for me to be going back here. I say 927033. I check it. In fact, I'm even lucky because I already copied and pasted the way it was arranged. What if it wasn't even arranged this way? It's just because this is an example. So it was arranged in a sweet way. So you don't have issue with that. So let's say it wasn't arranged this way. I'll now go there. 92033. I'll now copy. I'll now come here. I'll now paste. Okay. I'll now look for 49. I'll now copy here. I'll now paste. Now, someone will say that, hey, I'm fast in copy and pasting now. I beg, I don't need this formula. Now I will shock you now. I go shock you now. What if tomorrow the person has promotion, they now change the person's salary from one figure to another? It means that if you have used that salary in like 14 spreadsheet, you will change that salary one after the other in every spreadsheet. And let's say the person is getting promotion every year, so every year you'll be editing spreadsheet up and down. That is not good. And as a lazy person, I don't think I can do that stuff. So because I'm too lazy, I think I'll use VLOOKUP. So let's go to sheet 2. So now in sheet 2, I mean, if you are lazy like me, can you type yes? Let me see if you have lazy people. If you are lazy like me and you prefer, let's type yes. Okay, yeah, Tunde is lazy. Yeah, welcome to the club. Thank you for identifying. Sometimes, okay. Oh, yeah, Omaru, you are lazy. Yeah. Welcome, welcome. You're welcome. So now, okay, favor is, oh, yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so now let's just do it. VLOOKUP equals to salary. Okay. So as usual, VLOOKUP is a function. So I type VLOOKUP. Okay, VLOOKUP. Okay, so my lookup value is ID code is here, comma. My table is not inside this sheet. Okay, my table is in another sheet. So Excel has the ability to still give you the accurate cell reference, even if it is inside another sheet. So you don't need to copy that data. You don't need to copy that ID code and make sure that they don't have to be in the same place. Wherever it is in our workbook, Excel will do it for you. So you don't need to stress yourself at all. Because I know there are some people that say, they are not on the same sheet. Oh, this thing is going to be hard. Oh, so you first of all copy that thing here. No. It doesn't have to be that way. So you go to sheet 1. And the same thing we did, you do it again. Sheet 1. Okay. So sheet 1. Sheet 1. Can you see here? Can you see? Can you see here? So, can you see what I'm doing? Excel has already accurate, even though I am working on sheet 2. Excel can still pick the cell reference from sheet 1. So that means that Excel can reference anything from any sheet for you. You just have to select it from where it is. And that is the power of cell referencing. And so I highlight it. As usual, I want to lock it. Now, okay, let me assume I didn't use that dollar stuff. Now, you see what will happen. See, as if I didn't use dollar stuff. Now, I press comma. So, as usual, what is the column index for salary? 2. What is the range lookup? False. Enter. Okay. Can you see that it got it? It got it. It got it. Okay, it said it's 178,939. Let's go back and check. Oh, the thing can tell us rubbish. Oh, 9427. 9427. Okay. Do you think it is correct? Is it correct? Even though it's on another sheet, is it still correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, let me take it again. So what I did here is that now before we were picking it from the same sheet, like this range, this table, we're highlighting from the same sheet. What we're doing, we're together on the same sheet. But this time around, I said they don't have to be on the same sheet. They can even be on different sheets. So what I'm saying here is that VLOOKUP, because to be realistic, most time you will not find it on the same sheet. Lookup value is this table array, and like I said, you just try to lock it. Just try to lock it by adding that dollar stuff. So just please take note of that. You see that I am adding dollar whenever I'm using this VLOOKUP. So the table array is from here to here. So can you see here? I've highlighted this. So as usual, I use my F4. Can you see here? So I've added that dollar just like we have done before for those other ones. I press it. I press comma. column index number. So what is the column index number for salary? Like we did the other time, salary is what? 2, comma. What is the range lookup? Because now, I'm putting the comma because I'm following this thing. Lookup value, I have put it. Table array, I've put it. Column index, I put it. So I'm clicking here. It said it's okay. I click here. It said it's there. I click here. It said it's there. I click here. Nothing is coming out. So I put comma. So what is the range lookup? True or false is false. Then I close the bracket. Please always follow the rule of BODMAS when you are working in Excel. If you open one bracket, you close with one bracket. If you open two brackets, you close with two brackets. I press enter. And then what will I do? I drag it down. So let us confirm. I expect 47. No. I expect 5965 4577 to be 114,149. Let's see if that is correct though, because this thing, let's see, it might not give us correct. So let's confirm. 5965 4577. Let me do search. So to search, I press Control F. So I first of all highlighted what I want to focus on. I press Control F. Or let me even go from here. Let me say I copy this thing now. I press Control C. I've copied this thing now. And this place, I press Control F. I say find this thing for me. So I press Control F for finding. Control plus F to find. I say find what this thing is for me. I find next. So it said me that for this person, let's say it should be around 114149. Let's see if you look up got it correctly. 114149. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. 114149. So that is something that you can use whenever you have data. So to be real. So now let's take it into business world. There are sometimes you have customer information and you have a spreadsheet. You want to print it. So whenever you have transaction for that customer, it always comes with the customer number. But the meaning of that customer number, you don't know. If they say customer C4, it does not make sense. So what you want to be printing out is not C4, C1, C10. You want to be printing out the names of those customers. And so you have the interpretation of C1, C2, C3, and C4 in one spreadsheet. And you need the interpretation based on the transaction that they've generated for you. You want to see who is C4, who is this thing. You now use VLOOKUP to check what C4 means in that other place. So you use the VLOOKUP, you link it together, and in that place you already see that this is what it means. And so it is very useful to take data from one place to another, because it is not realistic to be checking one by one so that your work can be very optimized. I hope you understand VLOOKUP now. So it is not something that you can know just like that. You have to practice. So maybe you have a data somewhere of 2 columns. You can try to put one column somewhere and try to see, can I even use VLOOKUP to find what is in this other column? I've told you column index number is a relative position. So now I want to ask you a question. If I highlight the column D and E, what is the column index number of salary? Now, before I highlighted this one. Now, let's say I highlight this one. What is the column index number of salary now? What's the column index number of salary?
1.
Okay, 1. Okay, thank you. 1. All right, thank you very much. So finally, I want to talk about pivot table. Finally, let's talk about pivot table. Finally. Pivot table. Pivot table. We have our time is fast spent, and I don't know if I'll probably run out. So this is the last time I'm talking about pivot table. Now, there is something that we do in Excel. There's something that we do in Excel that has to do with summarizing a data. summarizing a data means that you have a data somewhere and you want to give a summary of what does it mean to have what does that data mean, or let me say what is the cumulative and all those things, summary of the data. That is what you want to find. There are sometimes maybe you have a grade, maybe you have something. I will share another screen now and explain what that means. I will explain what that means. Now I'm sharing another spreadsheet. If you can see it, please can you type yes? This is the last thing, so we can round up and everybody goes. We've spent quite a whole lot of time right now. Yes, very good. Now, summary of data is that now look at lip gloss, lip gloss, lip gloss. What if I want to say what is the total unit of lip gloss? Normally, if I want to find the total unit of lip gloss, it means I will have to I will have to add lip gloss 45 plus 55 plus 43 plus 72 plus 24 and all that. And I have so many things. What if I want to say, I want to find the summary of everything here. And now imagine for this thing, I have 1,904. When do I want to finish? When do I want to finish? That will take a whole lot of time. And I told you I'm very lazy. You can't afford that time. And just imagine there are so many. There's lip gloss. You do that. You first of all do for lip gloss. You do that for foundation. You then do for lipstick. You do for mascara. I mean, when are you going to finish? There's no time for that. And that's why there's one powerful tool in Excel we call pivot table. Many of you have been seeing it before, but you don't know what it can do. So pivot table will help you to summarize your data. It's like it gives you, summarizing means that it gives you an overview of that data. You try to get insight of that data and straight to the point. I want to summarize product, unit, and dollars. I want to summarize product, unit, and dollars. Okay. Okay. Pivot table. So pivot table. This is what I call it. Pivot table. Pivot. It is on the flyer. Pivot table. Okay. So thank you, Victoria. We are for this opportunity because time has really gone, but she still wants us to continue a bit so we can round up on time. So thank you very much for that, Victoria. Okay. So pivot table, you can see this is pivot table here. This is the name of it. So for people that need to know. Now straight to the point, let me add another thing here. Let me call this one type. Type. Let me just put this one type. Let me just write type A, B, and C. Just write A, B. Just, I want it to be alternating between A, B, C. I want it to be alternating between A, B, and C. So ABC. So ABC, 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 ABC. Okay. So that's what I just did. I just want to make the data look somehow dynamic. Now I want to summarize product, type, unit, dollars. I want to summarize everything. I want to see the overview of everything. How do I do that? I highlight everything. I highlight everything. So whatever way you highlight, please use that. I first of all highlight everything. So this is what I want to. Let me delete this. I don't need this one. So you highlight everything, including the column name. Oh, please look at it. I'm highlighting. I'm highlighting even the column name. So I highlight everything. Please pay attention. I highlight everything. Can you see I've highlighted everything? I go down. So I have highlighted everything now. Now after I've highlighted everything, the next thing I want to do is that I want to now summarize. So once I want to summarize, okay, once I want to summarize, I go to insert. I go to insert. I go to insert pivot table. Pivot table. So you can see here, I don't know where you have it on your own, 2007, 2008, but whatever it is, the name is called pivot table. So if you can find pivot table, type yes. If you have seen pivot table on your own, type yes. Can you type yes? If you've seen pivot table, can you type yes? If you see pivot table, can you type yes? My friends have not been talking. Adele Adedeji, have you seen it on yours? Yes. Ayotunde says she has seen pivot table. Okay, very good, very good. Oh, Deji has seen it. Oh, great, great. So since my friends are okay, Sunny Abibat, yeah, thank you. So I press pivot table. I press pivot table. So it's asking me table or range. So table data or range. Sorry. me highlight it again. So table data range, I have selected everything, like all those things I've selected. Is asking me another thing is that should I put the pivot table in a new worksheet or an existing worksheet? Because we want to be seeing it side by side, I'll press existing worksheet. If you press new worksheet, it will create another worksheet and put your pivot table there. So I press new, I'll press existing worksheet. The location, I say I want it to be beside this, so I press this thing as my location. I press OK. So it brings out something like this. How many of you have seen something like this, pivot table? How many of you have seen something like this? If you have seen something like, can you type yes? Oh, powerful, powerful, great, great, great. You guys are becoming data analysts already. You are doing data analysis already. Now, the next thing I want to see is that now I want to summarize the products. And for every product, now listen to me, for every product, I want to see the total unit. For every product, I want to see the total unit. For every product, I want to see the total unit. So what I do is that the row will contain the product. I want to see the product one after the other. And then the values, I want to see it beside it. So what you do is that row is just what is here. This is row. What is here is a row. Column, what is here? Value, the calculation that you are doing for the row or the column. Finish, as simple as that. Now, pivot table, what is the product? What are the products? I drag it into rows. As simple as that. Drag it into rows. That's how you summarize. I drag it into rows. So it is telling me that from everything in this table, it no pass eyeliner, foundation, lip gloss, lipstick, mascara. That summarize that for us. So it means that if you like scroll down, you'll never see anything apart from eyeliner, foundation, lipstick, lip gloss, mascara. Next, and now says, okay, I want to see next. I want to see like what is the sum of the units. What I do is that I drag this unit. I drag this unit. I drag it into values. So it's telling me that they are, so can you see it has found the sum of, there are 18,539 eyeliners. So you can, so the formatting that Victoria taught us, I can put it here, I can put comma, and then this is how you increase and reduce decimal. All these things here is to increase, this is to increase this one, this is to reduce. I don't need to see any decimal point, so I can just reduce the decimal. Here, I press this, I've taken away the decimal point. So there are 18,539 foundation eyeliner, lip gloss is 16,333, lipstick is 8,823. Wow, that's great. And I'll say, oh, okay, I want to even see the price, the average price for everything. For all the eyeliner, what's the average? What is the total price, first of all? So under values, because I told you values is for the calculation exclusively, I drag dollars there. So it's telling me that eyeliner is what? 56,000. It has summarized it just instantly. So if the data like it should be 100,000, instantly it summarizes it. If you like it should be 500,000, it summarizes it. It's just that the speed might not be slower depending on your computer, because my laptop here is 16 gig RAM, so it might not, your might not be as fast as mine. So that's just that. So sum of dollars, it's 56,400, and this foundation is telling us the price. What if I'm saying that no, I don't want the sum, I want to see the average? That is why you click on the values. How many of you can see something like value field settings? Can you type yes if you can see anything like value field settings? Can you type yes? Value field setting. Oh, I think I've seen it. Yes. Okay, great. Anybody else seen value field settings? Okay. Okay, great. That one I've seen it. Okay. Now, so I go to average. I go to value field settings. So now enter value field settings. How many of you have opened these value field settings now? Can you see? It's like value field settings. Value field settings. They're going to do some very interesting stuff very quickly. I hope to end this class in 15 minutes max. We are already at the end already. So just max. In fact, I'm not sure you should be able to do that, but you just tidy up things now. I mean, you can see this window I've put here. Can you type yes? Angel has seen it already. Okay, very good. Fine. Now, the next thing I do is that I am not interested in the sum. What I am interested is in the average. So I change it from sum, I change it to average, and then I press OK. And that's found the average for us. So it's saying that the average of dollars is for eyeliner is 129, for foundation is 129, for lipstick is 130, for mascara is 126, and for everything all together is this thing 126. And then filter is just for you to like try to focus on a particular type of data. So let's say I drag in type into filter. Can you see I've put in type here? I can now say, okay, for only type A, all this calculation, I just want to focus on type A alone, nothing else, nothing else. Just for type A alone, I want to focus on type A alone. I want to focus just on type A. So I go here, I go to, I think I've dragged in type into filters. I press this one, I press A, I press OK. Can you see that the value changed? If I say no, I want to see for type B, press OK. It has specified. So it means that only what is showing here is only summarizing based on B. If I say no, I want for everything, all. I press OK. When you are not interested in the sum of the unit as a value, there's sometimes when you feel like maybe let me remove this average of dollars. Okay, let me remove this average of dollars. Okay, let's remove this average of dollars. What if you want to say no? I want to see it. I want to analyze it like I want to see a breakdown of the sum based on the type. Then I drag it from type. I drag it into columns. Do you see what just happened there? It has given me a breakdown. It has given me a breakdown of how eyeliner of category A, how it is of category B, how it's of category C, because I dragged type into column because column is here. And so I summarize it in such a way that all the things that can be inside A, B, and C is here. Now let's do something very interesting. Let me swap it. Let me put type in columns and product in rows. See what will happen. See what is happening here. So that foundation and all those things that were before, they used to be inside this place. Can you see that they have come up here and it has summarized all this one as A, B, and C? So it depends on how you want to see your data that will tell you whether you should put it in a row or you should put it in column. Now, the last thing we are doing is that what if you don't like it as a number? What if you want to see it as a percentage? Now, let me take away this thing here. Let me bring the product here. Let me take the type here. What if I want to see it as a percentage? I can go here. I can say sum of values. I can say value field settings. Now, before we talked about summary value as, now you want to show the value as something that you want. I don't want to see the value as just a number. So I change it from summarize value to show values as. Now you can see here, show values as. How many of you can see this place that I am right now on your own place? How many of you can see? Can you type yes? Just one yes and then I move on. Just one yes. Okay, very good. Very good. Yes. Now I go here, I say show value as. I say no, percentage of grand total. So it depends on which one you need. So value field settings, let me go back. To click on value field settings, on this value, I just click on it once. Just left click. I press it, left click. Once I left click on it, I see my value field settings. A left click, I see your value field settings. I press my value field settings. Then I go to show value as. I press it. Show value as. I press it. Percent of grand total. I press it. I press OK. So can you see it has given me percent? So it is telling me that eyeliner that is category A is 8.39% of my data. You know, sometimes all these people, they like to express in percentage. This is 23% of it. So you say eyeliner is 23.46% of this. Foundation is 22.15%. This is 11.17% and all that. And so that is a part of Excel that is data summary. But before you can summarize data, it's always very realistic when you have a whole lot of data. But whether you have small data, whether you have big data, I believe by now you should see how powerful Excel is for you to do. And so we will be sharing just some more resources. So if you want to learn more about Excel, there are some websites. There's a person, they call him mrexcel.com. He has a YouTube page, Mr. Excel. There is another one, Trump Excel. I'm going to put Trump Excel. I think what will happen is that I would share all these things with Victoria, so she can send it to the email. She can send it to the email. Trump Excel. We have different Excel resources, but these are just some little ones that out of the many there, and AXC Excel. And so there are so many things that you can do with Excel. And I think with this one, we have come to the end of my own part. So thank you very much. Okay. So I'll stop sharing my screen now.
Hello. Hello. Hello, please, can you hear me? Can you hear anything? Okay, hi. Thank you so much.
Hi, we can hear you.
All right. So thank you so much to Alade. Thank you so much. I appreciate your presence, and it's a privilege having you teach us in this class. I want to appreciate everybody for coming, for being a participant. I hope we learned something. So if you learned one or two things, it would be it's very important that you give a feedback on the group chat. So just type whatever it is that you learned. And also, I said earlier, and I said at the beginning of this class, that for you to be a very good Excel user, it takes consistency. So you have to practice constantly. You have to keep, doing one or two things to, develop your skill, your Excel skills. I'll post the link on the group chat, the link to the recording of this class. So it's live on YouTube. I'm going to post the YouTube link shortly. Everybody can see it. Also, there's a bonus for all the students that participated, an ebook, how to make money as a student. I'll be posting that on the group too. And whatever information I have, any more information going forward, I'll be posting that on the group chat. Thank you very much for joining this class. So I'm calling an end to this meeting now. If you have any question, you could just ask on the group chat. I would respond to everything. Thank you so much for joining. Have a good evening. So you can please leave the class now. You can just leave. Thank you so much. Hi, Peace Bakari. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Victoria, thank you very much for everything.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
You're
Yes,
welcome. Thank
this is
you.
my boss. See, why is my boss? Oh? It's my boss every
Oh,
time.
of course. I know that's right. I saw your comments.
Oh, okay, yeah. The phone.
Yeah. Angel is still in this class. Can you unmute your mic?
Okay, do have a wonderful day, guys.
Angel, are you still here? Okay. Hi, how are you? Did you enjoy the class?